Hey, welcome back to Tech with Ratan. This is Ratan. Today, I'm going to show you exactly how to deploy your Django application to a production server using Docker. This is not just another tutorial. I'll also show you how to set up a CI/CD pipeline so that your deployment process is fully automated. And whenever you want to make changes to your live site or you want to push a new feature to your application, you'll be able to do it with just a few simple steps. So the tools we are going to use in this video are Docker, GitHub Actions for CI/CD pipeline, and Django as the backend, React.js as the front end, and Postgres as the database. For the server side, we'll use Linode virtual private server, Nginx for serving static files and handling the request, and GUnicorn as the application server. So this is a full-fledged production deployment setup, and you can use this exact approach to deploy Django applications of any sizes. Now let's talk about the prerequisites. You should already know Django, okay? The little bit of Django knowledge is mandatory, and React is optional if you're mainly focusing on the backend development. I'll also provide my Django plus React project repository, which you can simply clone from my GitHub and follow along with this deployment process. So to start with, I'll give a brief overview of Docker, and then we'll move on to the practical implementation. So what is Docker? Well, Docker is a software platform that simplifies the process of building, running, managing and distributing your applications. For example, imagine you cooked a dish or a food at your home. Now, if you give the recipe to your friend, they may not be able to make it the same way that you did, right? Why? Maybe they don't have the same ingredients, maybe their stove is different, or maybe they are using different sizes of pot. This is what happens in software too. When I run my project on my computer, it works fine. But when you run it on your computer, it may not work the same way because you have a different Python version and you might not have the same libraries that I installed. And your operating system is different. So Docker solves this problem. With Docker, I can pack my application like my food with all the ingredients inside one box. When I give you that box, you just run it and it will work exactly the same way on your computer, on my computer, or even on the cloud server. So why do we need Docker? You see, every software project has three main parts. One, backend, another one is front end, and another one is database. So the backend could be Django REST framework, although there are many other backend frameworks, but I'm taking the example of Django REST framework because that's what I've been working on and that's what I've been teaching, right? And the front end could be React, and the database could be PostgreSQL or MySQL or any other database. So normally to run this software, you have to install Python and all other backend libraries. And for running the front end, you'll have to install Node.js and React dependencies and install a Postgres database and configure it. So that's a lot of setup and anyone can easily make mistakes. With Docker, we don't need to install anything except Docker itself. So we'll put backend in one container and we'll put the front end in another container, and we use a ready-made container for PostgreSQL database. And by the way, what is container? So the container is a kind of a box where your project lives. It contains your code, it contains your libraries and your settings, and in fact everything about your project. All the containers will run together just like different apps on your phone, right? So they all run together and your project is live. So running all these containers are very simple. You just have to run one command and everything works. Okay. So there are some concepts in Docker that you need to understand before you get started with Docker. So there's something called image. So think of this as a recipe book. Example, a Python image is a recipe that knows how to run Python. Now there's another thing called container. So this is the real dish made from the recipe. If an image is a recipe, the container is the actual cooked food ready to serve. And there's another thing called a Docker file. So this is our personal recipe for our project. So it's kind of a text file with the instructions to build a Docker image. Here we write steps like use Python and install Django, copy my code from the source location to destination location and run the server, and all of that will go into Docker file. We create the Docker file for backend as well as frontend. So another important thing is Docker Compose. So this is like a manager. It runs multiple containers together. For example, it will run the backend, it will run the front end, and also the database at the same time with just one command, and your application is up and running. So how do we typically use Docker in our project? Well, it's very simple. First thing, we create a Docker file for the backend and another Docker file for the front end. And then we use official PostgreSQL image from Docker Hub. And then we write a docker compose.yml file to connect backend, frontend, and database together. Then with one single command, docker compose up, the backend starts, the frontend starts, and the database starts, and everything is ready in seconds. So before we get started with the deployment steps, let's quickly go a little bit deeper into Docker. We just want to understand how this Docker works. Well, normally, if we want to run our app, we install everything on our computer's operating system. Like we install Python, we install Node.js, we install a Postgres database on your system, whether it's your Windows or Mac. But Docker works differently. Docker uses something called Docker engine, which runs the containers. A container is like a small box that has its own operating system, that has its own softwares like Python or PostgreSQL, and your application source code. So each container is independent. Even if my computer is Windows and your computer is Mac, Docker makes sure both of us run the same environment inside the container. Some people may ask, why not just use the virtual machine instead of using Docker? You see, virtual machine is a little bit heavy and it needs its own operating system and takes some minutes to start. But the Docker container is lightweight and shares the host OS, and it starts in seconds. It's very fast. For example, virtual machine is building a whole new house every time you want a room. But Docker container is like building a room inside your existing house. It's much faster than building a whole new house every time you want a room, right? Doesn't make sense. So now that we understand, Docker gives us consistent environments. Docker is lighter and faster than virtual machines, and Docker lets us run multiple containers together. We can confidently use Docker for any project. So the backend will run in one container, the front end will run in another container, and Postgres will run in a third container, all controlled by Docker Compose. I hope you now have a clear understanding of Docker. Next, we will install Docker and clone my project from the GitHub, and then we will deploy it on the production server. All right, let's start with installing Docker on your local system. So to install Docker, it's very simple. You can just go to docker.com. So here you have to download this Docker desktop, okay, on your computer. So if you're using Mac or Windows, you have all the options. All right, so in my case, I'll just download for Mac. All right, so in your case, you can just go with Windows or Linux or whatever operating system you are using. All right, and once you are done, it's very simple, just like how you install a typical software, right? So that way you can install the Docker. Once you're done with the installation, you can just go to just open this Docker desktop. So it will automatically run the Docker engine on your system. Okay, so here there are some options. If you're using it for the first time, okay, I did not install it again because Docker is already there in my system. And you can also just log in to the Docker and once you log in, you will see this kind of interface. Okay, so these are some of my test images. Okay, so as you can see, we have the containers, images, volumes, builds, models, Docker Hub, and Docker Scout. So I'm not going to go go to each of these and explain everything, but some of the important things as we discussed in the Docker section right earlier in this video. So the first thing you can see here is the Docker container. Okay, so the container is like the real thing created from the image. Okay, so I think I should tell you, show you first about this images. So this image is like a blueprint. Okay, so blueprint of your project. So it's kind of a recipe when you make your food, right? So now let's say Python 3.11 or Python 3.10 or Python 3.11 is an image that already has the Python 3.11 installed. Okay, so you can just use it inside the container. You can use these images to build the containers. Now, what is containers again? A containers is like a real thing created from the image. Okay, so if an image is a recipe, the container is the actual cooked food. Now, for example, if the Python is the image, the container is the Python project created using Python, right? So it's like that. Now, when Docker is there in your system, and when you run Docker run Python colon 3.11 or 3.10, whatever the version it is, you will get a container with the Docker running inside of this container. Okay, and then we also have the Docker file, which is not here in the interface, but it will be in your in your project directories. Okay, so the Docker file is like your own custom recipe. It will have some instructions to run your project. Okay, so here you write write the steps to run your project, and Docker will follow these steps to create an image. So once the image is created, then you Dockerize it. So don't get confused. If it is confused, definitely it is confused for the beginners, and we are going to see everything in action in this video only. All right, so the next thing is this Docker Hub. This is one of the things that I wanted to show you. So this Docker Hub is, just think of this Docker Hub like a big store of images. Okay, so just like GitHub stores the source code, right? So this Docker Hub stores Docker images. Here you will find a PostgreSQL image, MySQL image, Redis image, Celery image, Python image. Everything is pre-built. You don't have to install it or set up anything here in the Docker. Okay, so anything which is needed, like a PostgreSQL database if you need, Python if you need, Redis if you need, you can just come here to the Docker Hub and just use it from here. Okay, so I'll show you how to use how to use the PostgreSQL database from this Docker Hub also. Okay, so and another thing is Docker Compose, which is of course not here, but Docker Compose is like a manager. I think I have already explained you about Docker Compose in the earlier section of this video, but actually Docker Compose is like a manager that can work, or that can run many containers at once. Okay, I'm explaining this to you again because now after a few minutes we are going to work on these Docker files and Docker Compose. Okay, so just I'm giving you just a refresh of this topics. All right, so now what happens when you have when you want to your Django React project, you have to run your backend, you have to run your front end, and you have to run the database. All right, now now in Docker Compose, what happens? You simply write the instructions, and this Docker Compose.yml file, it will actually take one command and it will just run all of them parallelly. Okay, backend will run, front end will run, and also database will also run. Okay, so those are some of the things that you need to understand before we start working on the project that we want to Dockerize. So as part of this tutorial, I am giving you one repository. You can find this, find the link to this repository in the description of this video. For the live class students, you already have built this project, right? You don't have to clone this. If you want to clone it, it's fine. But I hope you guys already have this a project in your local system, so I don't think you have to clone it. All right, so anybody who's watching on YouTube, you can just clone this project. Okay, you can just clone this project. I'll just quickly tell you what is this project. So this project has the backend DRF, and this project has the front end React. Okay, so this is one simple e-commerce project where you can add the products, and then you add the product to the cart, decrease, increase the quantity, and delete the quantity, and just place the orders, and few other things are there. So totally it's a e-commerce project. So in this readme.md file, I have written all the instructions, step by step. We will simply follow these instructions to set up this project, and then we dockerize this project, and then we will set up the CI/CD pipeline using GitHub Actions, and then we'll create the Linode virtual private server and set up Nginx, gunicorn, and then connect our custom domain and install SSL on it. Okay, and next time when you want to push or when you want to update your application from the local to live, then you simply run git push origin main, right? Which means when you just push your code to the main branch, our CI/CD pipeline will trigger, and it will push your code automatically to your live site. So that's the goal of this video. Okay, all right, so what I'll do now is I will actually clone this project. Okay, so I'll just clone this project. So let me go to one of my directories. So I have created one folder called Django auto deploy. Okay, so I'll open this in my VS Code. Okay, so I'm starting from scratch. There is nothing. Okay, you can just follow along with this video, and you will learn exactly how to deploy this, how to deploy any of the Django projects to live, okay, through the CI/CD pipeline and Docker. Okay, so I've opened this, and from here I'm going to open my terminal. Let me make it a little bit bigger. Okay, so there's nothing, and what I'm going to do is I am actually going to say git clone. I'll copy this, and also I have given you the command. Okay, you can simply copy this, okay, and put it here. Perfect. Okay, so once the project is cloned, you can simply go to cd Django clickmart underscore. Okay, just don't miss this underscore, because I have named this project in this same underscore. Okay, so I'm currently inside this Django clickmart. All right, so in the Django clickmart we have two folders. One is this backend DRF, and another one is this front end. So this backend DRF is actually the backend APIs, and this front end is our React code. Okay, so in this one we are actually going to use Docker, PostgreSQL database, and then GitHub Actions for CI/CD, and we'll use Linode server and Nginx as the reverse proxy, and gunicorn as the application server, and custom domain. We'll connect the custom domain with the SSL certificate. It's completely a full-fledged deployment setup. All right, so let's go step by step. What we are actually going to do is like this. In your local server, you have your source code, okay, like this, and then we are going to Dockerize this code just to see if it works in Docker or not, just to verify. All right. And once we are done with Dockerizing and everything, then we will connect this code to GitHub Actions. Okay, so our code will go to the GitHub. Through the GitHub, it will go to Linode server. All right, and then we will connect the domain in the Linode server, and it will serve to the public using HTTPS after installing SSL. Okay, so that's the plan. Okay, so there are some prerequisites here. So you have to have the Git installed in your system. Okay, so you can just if it is not installed in your system, you can just Google it and you will find it. Okay, to install Git. And Python 3.10 should be installed, of course. I'm sure Python is already installed in your system. And pip should be there, of course it is also there. And Docker desktop that we have already installed, right? So this is what we call the Docker desktop. And then VS Code. Okay, so you can use any code editor, but VS Code is recommended. And we are done with this step 1 to clone this project, and we have just entered inside this Django ClickMart. Okay, so the first thing that we want to do is remove the Git history. Why should we remove this Git history? Is because we are actually going to deploy this site, right? So currently you have cloned it from my repository, so I want this source code to be completely yours. Okay, so that's why what we will do is we will see if there is any .git folder. You can see here there is this .git folder, right? We want to delete this .git folder. Okay, so currently it is git initialized. We just want to remove this .git folder. How do you remove it? Just run rm-rf. Rf means recursively forced delete. Okay, just run this. Now if you see ls-a, you will see there is no .git folder, which means your project or your source code is not at all connected to any repository. Okay, so it is completely yours right now. Now what we'll do now next is to create your own repository. Okay, so this is one important step. So you already have your GitHub, and what I'll do is I'll just create a new repository, and I will say ClickMart auto deploy. Okay, so it's up to you, whatever name you want to give, it's your wish. Okay, I'll just go here. In your case, you can simply go to GitHub, click a new repository, and you can name it Django ClickMart or anything. All right. Okay, so if you want this to be visible to the public, you can just control it from here, public or private. I'll just keep it public. All right, create new repository. Okay, so next we will just you'll just initialize the git and run some basic commands here, so that our project is connected to your repo. Okay, your GitHub repo. And to run this, you have this already, git init you have to run. Just git init. So the moment you run this git init command, you will now see ls-a. You can see .git folder will be visible, which means git is now initialized. Okay, now next we will connect it, like we'll just add git add dot. Okay, git add dot, and then we will run this one. Okay, maybe we'll follow this git commit -m. Okay, if you want me to make it bigger. All right, git commit initial project setup, and then we will add git branch -m main. Okay, so by default it will be master branch, so we are actually changing it to main branch. And git remote add origin, so this we want to run from here. You will see this one, right? So we have run this git init, we have run git add, we used git add dot or -a, okay, to to stage all the changes. We did git commit and we did git branch -m main, and then we have to run this one, exactly this line of code. Just run this, okay, and then git push -u origin main. The moment you do it, now if you refresh this repo, you will see this exact project has come to your repository. Okay, so now this is your repo. All right, so next thing, we want to run Django locally. Okay, so how do you run this locally? Just without Docker and everything, we just want to confirm if this cloned project works properly or not, right? So I'm trying to go as detailed as possible so that any beginners can understand this. All right, so before we make this project Dockerized, we will just make sure this project works on your local system or not. Okay, so that's what we are doing here. So right now we are inside this, if I just see this pwd, I'm inside here, right? So I have this Django backend, I mean backend DRF, frontend, and readme. So what I'll do is I'll just go inside this backend DRF. Okay, I'm just going inside this backend DRF. So inside here, what I need to do is to create the virtual environment. Okay, so I'll just create the virtual environment by running this command python 3 -v venv and env. Env is the virtual environment name. So this env folder will get created here inside your backend DRF. You see this one. Okay, and next what we want to do, we want to actually install these requirements. So these are the basic requirements to okay, so before we install the requirements, we also want to activate this virtual environment, right? So this is how you activate the virtual environment. Source env bin activate if you're using Mac or Linux or git bash. But if you're using Windows or PowerShell, you can use this code, I mean this command, to activate your virtual environment. So I'll just use this source env bin activate. Okay, so you can see my environment is activated. Next thing is to install this requirements.txt. So I will run this code, pip install -r requirements. Okay, I'll simply upgrade this pip also. All right, so all the packages have been installed now. Next thing is to create the env file. So why this env file is because in your project there will be some secret information like your secret key, like your database name, user, password, and email host user and host password can be there, right? So those are the things that we don't want to store directly in the project directory. We have to do it, store it inside the hidden file called .env. This .env file will not go to your repository. Okay, so .env we will have to create it. Here just right click on this backend DRF and create new file .env. Okay, simply copy all of these things and just paste it here. So debug can be true when you're on development server. And then secret key. So how to create the secret key? Django secret key generator. Just go to Google and just say Django secret key generator. You will be landed, you'll get this search result. There's this website or tool called djcrately or something. Okay, so you can just generate, and it will be automatically copied, and then you put that secret code here. Okay, save it. So now for this project I'm going to use a Postgres database, and we also have the Postgres username. and I must tell you this, Postgres should be installed in your system. Okay, so and also installing Postgres is not at all difficult. You can go to postgres.org and download, right? So you can download for Windows, and click on this download the installer, and once you are here, you can see Windows x86 and 64. Click on this button, it will be downloaded, and just like any other software, just click next to install your Postgres. Okay, after that you may need to download and install pgadmin. So just go to pgadmin.org. So this is the client application for your Postgres. Okay, just go to pgadmin.org and click on this download now. Okay, so it will be downloaded, and simply open this pgadmin. It usually takes a little time to load. So my pgadmin is open now, so I can just expand this, and in my case, PostgreSQL 15, 16, 18 is installed. But in your case, if you are using it for the first time, you'll probably see the latest version of the PostgreSQL. Okay, so you simply just expand this PostgreSQL 18, and it will ask you for the PostgreSQL password. This password you must have entered when installing the PostgreSQL database. Okay, so that same password you have to put here. Okay, I'll put my password and say okay. So I'll expand this, and I'll see this databases. If I expand this databases, you'll see there are some of the some databases I have. I'll have to just select this databases, and right click and create database. All right, so here you'll create the database. So I'll say click mart auto deploy db, or I can simply say click mart local db. Okay, click mart local db. I'll just write. Okay, just copy your database name and save it. All right, so go back to your .env, and here you have to put this database name. Okay, and after that, the database user by default it is Postgres. Okay, so if you don't change it, it will be always Postgres. And the password you have to put for your database. Okay, so I'm going to put my password. I don't mind if you see this password. Anyhow, I'm going to change it. And of course, this is a local, computer. And this will be DB host is will be like a local host, and DB port will most probably 5432. Okay, but in my case 5432 is not going to work, because I have 3 instances of PostgreSQL installed in my local system. So that's why in my case it is 5435, I guess. To see that and confirm it, I will just right click on the PostgreSQL and go to properties. In the connection, you'll see this port, right? In my case, it is 5435. Okay, so my 5432 is busy on other instance. Okay, so that's why I'm going to use the 5435. 5435. In your case, it will be most probably it is 5432. Okay, and next thing that you need to do is to add your email configuration. This is actually I typically use Gmail if I don't send much emails. If I send a lot of emails from the website programmatically, I I don't use Google or Gmail because they will blacklist me. For that we have like a SendGrid, Bravo, and some other email service provider, right? But as part of this video, we will use Gmail. Okay, so I'll just say developer.ratan@gmail.com. From this email I'm going to send the order emails. Okay, so this setting is actually very specific to this particular project only, this particular ClickMart project. And you see this email host password, right? So this is not your Gmail password, this is your app password. Okay, so what is this app password? It's actually, Google will allow you to create the app password when you want to programmatically send emails from your from your application. Okay, so for that's why we have to create the 16-digit app password. So to create the app password, what you have to do, you have to go to this Gmail. I'll just show you exactly how it works. See here, you see this manage your Google account, right? So click on that manage your Google account and make sure the right Google account is selected from this top right corner. Okay, and you go to security and sign in, and then you see this, how you sign into Google, right? Two-step verification must be turned on if you want to create the app password. If this two-step verification is not turned on, you will not be able to create the app password. Okay, so to just make sure this one is activated, and click on it. So here in this page, scroll down and you will see this app password section. Okay, so if your two-step verification is turned off, you will not see this app password. Okay, so that's one thing you have to keep in mind. Now here click on this one, and I have a couple of demo passwords. To create a new password, you will just say Django deploy something. Okay, simply create it, and you see it will create 16-digit password. Okay, copy this and just go to your .env, and here you have to paste it, and make sure to remove this spaces from here. Okay, so this should be your app password. All right, so let's see what is next. Let me close all these things. So this part is done now. Now we have created the we have to create the database tables. Okay, so we are done with creating the database, but we want to also run the migrate command so that all the default tables and the custom tables will get created in the new database. So how to do that? For safety, what I'll do is I'll just deactivate the virtual environment so that this .env file will get refreshed. Okay, so I'll just activate it again. Source env bin activate. Okay, all right, so now I will just run python manage.py run server. Okay, not run server will work, but the thing is it should be migrate. This is a command that we want to run. All right, all the tables have been created. Okay, so now let's try, I think let's run the run server command. All right, so this is the backend is now working. All right, now let's see what to do next. So since the backend is working, so this project is this project uses the front end, right? So we want to set up the React also, right? So it's very simple. You already have this command or the code. So what you have to do inside the front end directory, which is which is this one, right? Inside the front end directory, we want to create a new file and call it .env again. Okay, so you see we have two .env file, one for this backend and another for this front end. Okay, so in this one we are only going to set one base URL. Just copy this and go here, Vite server base URL. So this is our base backend URL. Okay, so we want to just set it here so that our front end knows which is the backend URL that it has to request. Okay, so only this much. It is 127.0.0.1 8000 port API / v1. So this is the base URL. I'll just close it. Okay, so next you have to run these two commands, npm install. Let me open this new terminal. Okay, new terminal, and just make sure you're inside the Django clickmart folder, and inside here you have to go inside the front end directory. Okay, make sure you're inside the front end directory, and from here you have to run npm install. So this will actually go ahead and install all the dependency packages of React. Okay, so that we need for running this project. Okay, so once it is done, we can just run npm run dev. So this will run the React server, or the Vite server. Okay, so now that our front end is running and back end is also running, right? So both of these should be running, and now you can just go to this localhost 5173 and you will see this is working. Okay, so you don't have any products right now, so you can't log in. But if you want to do that, you have to create the virtual create the what do you call, the create super user, right? So the way we do this is like this: python manage.py create super user. Okay, so we have a custom user model in this project, so that's why it is asking me for the email address, and I will just say Django admin, and my password also I'll put, and I'll password, and put the password again. Super user is created. I'll go back and run the server and just make sure this project is running. Admin. Okay, so not here, I'm sorry. So this is our backend URL. We have to go to this 127/admin. All right. So this much is your front end, your local setup. Okay, so this project is not yet dockerized. We will dockerize this project right now. Next thing is to install and verify. Okay, so this thing is already done. Docker and Docker is already installed. So what we'll do is just go ahead and you can stop the server. It's up to you. We just made sure that it is working. I will create another terminal. So here I'll just go inside this Django clickmart and I'll say docker version. This is just to verify if the Docker is installed or not, and also Docker compose version also we will check. Okay, Docker compose version. So these two things should be there. Okay, so once if you don't get any error here, you are ready to go to the next step. So what is the next step? We have to create the Docker file. So as I said in the beginning, we have to create the Docker file for backend and also for the front end. Okay, so you see we are creating the Docker file for front end also. First we'll go with the creating the Docker file for backend. So to create the Docker file, we have to go to the, let me close this .env, and we are creating the Docker file for this backend DRF. What we are doing here is we are trying to Dockerize the project in the local server. Okay, so we usually don't do this. we usually just take out, set up the Docker file in the production server only. But I just want to show you exactly how to do it in the, how to Dockerize this project in your local machine. And then we will customize a little bit to make it work with the production server. Okay, so that way you will just understand exactly how it works. Okay, otherwise if I just go, take this source code to production servers directly, there's a chance you'll get confused. Okay, so that's the reason we will we will just Dockerize this project in our local computer only. Okay, so for what we have done, we have actually set up this, set up the project in our local machine. Now we are going to Dockerize this project so that you don't have to run this, front end, back end database or anything, explicitly. You simply run the Docker and it will work. Okay, so it's like that. Once we're done with the Dockerizing the project in the local server, we will then set up the CI/CD pipeline, and then we'll go with the Linode server. Okay, so to see if everything works in a Docker, we are going to create this Docker file. So just right click on this backend DRF and create a new file and say Docker file. Okay, Docker file. There is no extension for this file, it's just Docker file. Okay, in the Docker file, what we are going to write, you see this Docker file is a step-by-step instruction that that tells Docker how to build and run our application. Okay, so these, whatever we write inside this Docker file will be the instruction for the Docker to run our project inside the of the Docker. Okay, so what we want to write here, you see, create a new file, Docker file inside the backend ARF. We are done with this. What we'll do is we'll just copy this whole thing, just copy this and put it here. I'll explain one by one. Just paste it here. So all this code which is inside here are very simple. From Python 3.10 Slim. So Slim is actually the lighter version of the Python image. Okay, Python 3.1 3.10 is the image. Okay, so here we are using Slim image, which is the Python's lighter version of the image. Okay, which is enough for us to run the projects. And then we have this two flags. One is Python unbuffered is equal to 1, which means it just shows the logs inside the terminal only. Okay, so it will just shows the logs directly in the terminal. So this is for this is for debugging purpose. Okay, and after that we have this Python don't write bytecode is equal to 1, which means it will stop the Python from creating .pyc file, which is unnecessary, unnecessary files. We don't want Python to create .pyc files. Okay, so these two flags we will use. Okay, one for debugging and another for stopping the Python from creating the .pyc file, which is unnecessary. Okay, and then work dir, work directory is which means inside the Docker container we have the root directory, which is called app. Okay, whatever source code that we are going to put when Dockerizing our application will go inside this app directory. Okay, so this is kind of a root directory inside of the Docker. Okay, and after that Docker is the Linux environment, so that's why we run this apt-get update and apt-get install commands to update the update the server or the Docker instances. Okay, so and after that it will just run the cache, it will remove the cache files and all stuff. You can just use it like this. Okay, even if you don't understand Linux, you can just copy this and paste it in your system. And the first thing Okay, once you're done with updating your container, which is a fresh container, and then first thing that we are going to do is to add the requirements.txt file. Okay, so we will just copy this requirements.txt file from here, from the root, I mean from this backend DRF, from here, and put it in the current directory. That's why it is dot. Okay, so this is the source path and this is the destination part. Copy requirements.txt and put it here in the same level as your app directory. Okay, and then we will install, I mean we'll pip install the requirements.txt. It is very simple. Okay, after this we will say copy dot dot, which means copy all the source code from this source, which is, this is the source. Okay, copy all of this code and put it in the current directory. Understanding, right? So that's why it is copy dot dot. Copy source source files and put it in the destination, like that. And then we will use a 8000 port. We'll have to expose the 8000 port, so that port we have, so that we can run our project. And we are we are also running this command gunicorn, and then clickmart main. Clickmart underscore main is the direct the main project name, you can see here, right? So inside of this we have wsgi. Okay, so this is what you have to write here. Okay, so it's up to you. If you're using some other project or to deploy, you have to change this name, clickmart underscore main. It should be your main project name, where your settings.py is. .wsj colon application. Okay, and then bind, then this is the port number, and workers is actually the instances of Django. So we'll use the workers, 3 workers. So 3 workers means we'll be using 3 Django instances in parallel. Okay, and gunicorn is our production server, or you can say application server. Okay, application server. And this is your Django entry point, and then we bind it so that we allow the external traffic. Okay, and the remaining things are tuning options like this, timeout and all. So this is very simple Docker file. All right, so this is enough for you to Dockerize your application. The Docker file for the backend is done, and then we have to create the Docker file for front end. Again, you create the new file inside the front end and say Docker file. Make sure when you write this Docker file, D must be capital. All right, so we have created another Docker file, and for another Docker file we'll just scroll down, and we have to create it, create a Docker file inside the front end folder, and then we will just copy this. We'll just copy this, okay, the whole code, and go back and put it here. So what is this Docker file for front end doing here? So Node version 18 we are using for building our React project. Okay, why 18? Currently, right now, at the time of recording this video, Node 24 is LTS. Okay, long time support version. But we are using Node 18 is because in a Docker, this 18 is a tested version, and most of the people use Node 18 for for Docker. Okay, even though the LTS version is 24, but in the Node environment, in the Docker environment, we typically use 18. But in future, if you're watching this video after 1 or 2 years, it could be changed, but you can just Google it and use the latest stable version. Okay, so for now it is Node 18. So this is what is this Node 18 image? We are getting it from the Docker hub. Okay, and work directory is again app. Okay, so you see, this is one container. Okay, this This Docker file will create one backend container. This Docker file will create another backend container. Understanding this, right? So in this container, we have the root directory called app. Again, for the front end also, we have another root directory called app again. Okay, whatever files that we have in local, we will push, or we'll just copy and copy it to this app directory. Okay, so this is actually the Docker environment. All right, so again here what we are doing, we are just using copy a package.json. Why this package.json is because just like requirements.txt, right? So it has all the in the requirements.txt we have Python dependencies, right? The same way in package.json we have the React dependencies. Okay, so that we are just adding to the app directory, and then we install this npm install. Okay, so once you run this npm install, all these packages will get installed. Okay, and after that we are copying this code. Okay, copying this front end code. Okay, so this is dot means all code which is which includes front end. Okay, and put it in the put it in the destination path, which is the app. Okay, and then we build the arguments for environment variables. In here we only have a Vite server based URL. Yeah, so this one we are actually taking it from the .env file only, and you can see here this line passes an environment variable into the Docker containers, so the React app knows the backend API URL. Okay, so that's one thing. And after that, npm run build. If you remember, we used this npm run dev, right? But we use of course for local we use dev. Okay, but we can use build for the live or production server. Okay, so this will work. And then we use Nginx image. So you see Alpine means the lighter version of Nginx. It's just like this slim, right? So for Nginx it is Alpine. So Nginx is a reverse proxy. If you don't know anything about Nginx, or if you don't know anything about GUnicorn that we are going to use, you can just watch the Nginx and the GUnicorn part. Just go to the description of this video, and you will see the timeline. Okay, you will see the timeline. So I have actually added the dedicated session, or it's like a 10 minutes session which explains exactly what is Nginx and what is GUnicorn, and how does both of these work together to make our application live and serve our application to the public. Okay, so all of these things are explained. You can just go to description of the video and find the timestamp. Okay, so if you already know Nginx, you can just skip that part. And then we have this copy from build app dist user share nginx html. So what this line of code will do is it will take your built React app and puts it inside the nginx directory. Okay, puts it inside the nginx, so that nginx can now serve it. All right, and then we are exposing port 80, so that Nginx can Nginx can serve our application. So it uses 80 port, and then we run this command nginx-g daemon off. So what this means is it tells Nginx to run in the foreground, not in the background. So what happens normally, Nginx runs as a background service or background process. That's what we call daemon. Okay, and Docker containers must have one main process running. Okay, otherwise if the Nginx runs in the background by default, the Docker thinks that the container is finished, or it will it will essentially stops the container. So that's why we are running this command to tell Docker that start Nginx and keep it running in the front end as the main process. If it's too much, don't worry, you don't have to understand all of these things to just deploy. but that's the that's what it means. All right, so that's why we run this command. All right, so and make sure you expose 80 so that Nginx could run the process. All right, so that's about the front end. Okay, now that's about the front end for the Docker file. All right, and then we have to create this docker compose.yml file. Okay, so this docker compose.yml file will actually run the front end, back end, and the database together. Okay, so let's copy this whole thing and go back. And you know what, we don't want to create this docker compose.yml inside the, neither it will go inside the backend nor it will go inside the front end. So it has to go to the root directory. Okay, just click on this Django clickmart underscore and click on new file, and you say docker-compose.yml, docker compose.yml. Okay, so let's I'll just copy this again. I'll put it here. Okay, I'll just try to explain this one now. See, for the as a service, we are using the database as a DB service. Okay, so it will use the image Postgres 16 Alpine. If you go here and search for Postgres, right, you see this Postgres, and 16 Alpine is one of the stable version. Okay, so here you can see this one, 16 Alpine. Okay, so we will use this 16 Alpine for our Docker Compose. Okay, and then we have to create this environment file .env.production, or if you want to just rename it to something else like .env .postgres or something. Okay, you can do this also. Okay, so we have to create this file, and we will just go to this backend DRF. We'll just create a new file and say .env .postgres or .env.production. Okay, name doesn't matter. All right, so I'll explain you what exactly this means. And you see, we also have to create the .env.docker. Okay, so I will tell you why, but we'll quickly create this .env.docker. Okay, so we have created two files here, .env.production and .env.docker, and we'll go back to this docker compose.yml. So here we are creating the database. Okay, so we are creating the database, and what database to create, we have to mention it here. Okay, what database to create, we have to mention it here. So do we have the, yeah, here you can see in the for creating this .env production, I will just copy these two things, these three things: db name, db user, db password. I'll just copy and paste it here. Okay, so db name, db user, and db password. So I'll just say clickmart deploy db. Okay, clickmart deploy db, and this is your Postgres user and the password. Okay, you have to put your password. I'll put this password. Using this username and password, Docker will create the new database. Okay, so I'll just save it. And in the backend, if you see, so in the backend we have built this backend project, and the port will be 8000, and env file, this is for the database, so .env.docker. So this is the copy of this .env. Okay, this .env.docker is the copy of .env. Okay, whatever it is here you will just copy this and go to this .env.docker and put it here. Okay, now in the database settings, you have to you have to actually remove this. Okay, you have to remove this, add this same database .env. So in the using this .env.production, this database will be created, and using this .env.docker, this database will be connected. Okay, so that's why just create this database and put it here. The DB user is same, and the password will be same, and the DB host, and make sure you, if you're not using 5432 in the local, but in Docker by default 5432 strictly. Okay, so you have to use this 5432 in the .env.docker. So the Docker will take this environment variables and build your backend. Okay. Okay, so I have just renamed it to something else, right? Production .env.production .env.docker. Okay, and then it depends on DB. DB is a service. Okay, like this. And the purpose of this Docker Compose is to run these three services: database service, and backend service, and front end service. Okay, and you see for the front end also, you can see. Okay, just before that, just want to show you this one, volumes. You see this for all the static folders. Okay, for all the static static files, CSS, JavaScript, images, and all, it will go to Docker's app and static folder. Okay, and for the backend media directory will go to app media. Okay, so these are the volumes. Volumes means the storage places. Okay, and then we run this command, python manage.py collect static and python manage.py migrate, and then we run the server. So this will be the local server. Okay, and to run these commands, you have to make sure that you have the static files set up correctly in the settings.py. You have to make sure that static root and static files dirs is configured. Okay, and you also need to have the static folder here. Okay, currently we don't have any static folder. Let's create one empty folder. In this project we don't have any static folder right now, but in almost all the projects there will be static folder. Okay, so let's close it, and this will run the server. This will run the backend, and the front end will be like the context is front end, which means the path of the front end, and then it is taking the arguments with server base URL, which will be like this backend. So this will automatically resolve inside the Docker. Okay, so you don't have to explicitly say 127.0 something like that. You just say docker :8000, so it will work. And then ports 5173:80. So 5173 is the default development server port number for the Vite projects, and 80 is the default HTTP port for the websites. And then we have this volumes Postgres_data. So this is actually this will create the Docker volume to permanently store the Postgres data. Okay, without this your database data is stored inside the container. So if the container is deleted, your data is lost. Okay, so that's why with this one we will just store, your data is stored in a Docker managed volume, and your data persists even if the container stops or restarts. Okay, so that's what this Docker Compose does. So overall, it will create the database, and it will then build the backend, it will build the front end, and it will store the data. Okay, what next? Once this is done, we will run the we will run this Docker Compose command. This command will actually Dockerize your project on your local computer. We are still Dockerizing the project on local server. Okay, I mean local computer. Okay, so let's just copy this Docker compose up. What you have to do, you can just stop the server if it's working, doesn't matter. Just make sure you're here with the same level as docker compose dot yml and run this docker compose up. Okay, and make sure all these files are saved. Save it. Let's see, docker compose up hyphen hyphen build. Okay, we got some error. .env production. Okay, not found. So so the thing is, our path is little wrong. Let's it's actually looking for, looking inside this, I mean this path, but our .env production is inside here, right? Just like this. Okay, just add like this. So let's try again. Okay, now it looks like it's building our services. Okay, so we are getting this error, invalid tag Django clickmart underscore hyphen backend, invalid reference format. So this is actually telling us to remove this underscore, because this in Docker this is considered as invalid. Okay, all right, so it was there in the GitHub, right? So that's why it is here. We will remove this. We'll just remove this, I mean we'll just remove that underscore. Okay, but we just want to see if it exists somewhere here. I don't think it is existed somewhere. So we just have to remove this underscore from this main directory. Okay, so and then hopefully it will work. Yeah, okay, looks like it's working. Actually your code is actually dockerizing your project, right? So okay, we got this error 5432 is failed. That's because we did one more mistake here. Okay, so what is this mistake is, we in the host, right? In the host, in this .env docker, the host should be set to db service. Okay, so this, just write this db. You see this one, right? This db should go here. Okay, so it should not be localhost. Yeah, you can see here, right? It should be db. I forgot to do it. I just kept it like kept it as localhost. That's why it is showing the error. No, it is just trying to connect the local 5432, which in my case is stopped. Okay, but even if it is running in your computer with this localhost in .env.docker, just change that to just change that to db. Okay, let's try again. So of course, when making the deployment, the errors are very common. Okay, so I'll just come back and say Django clickmart. Uh, okay, so I'll say docker compose up hyphen build. Let's try again. Okay, so we are getting this error again. It says could not translate the hostname DB to address. So what's happening here is that Docker is unable to create the database, and this is correct. Okay, so of course this must be correct, but this DB does not exist. Why? Because Docker is unable to create this database with the clickmart deploy DB. Why? Is because I mean, Docker expects Postgres underscore DB, not this DB underscore name. So this is actually the environment name, which is the custom names. Okay, so I mistakenly named it like this. It should be, it should be like Postgres underscore DB. Okay, it should be Postgres underscore DB, and this should be Postgres underscore user. Okay, Postgres underscore user, and this should be Postgres underscore password. Okay, so that's the reason we are getting this unable to, I mean, could not translate hostname DB. Okay, so make sure you have this, set up correctly. Okay, so let's try again. We got some, a lot of errors now. Let's see. Let's do this. Docker compose down -v. Okay, so let's rebuild it. Docker compose build --- build. Hopefully this should work now. Okay, so if you can see here what's happening, the first thing is your server is running. Okay, backend server is running, and you see you can see it was able to migrate the database, right? So now your project is Dockerized. Okay, now to see the health of your Docker container, you can simply run this docker compose ps. Okay, just run the new new terminal and just say docker compose ps. Okay, so I'll have to go inside the cd docker Django clickmart, right? Then I run this docker compose ps, and you see status is up up up, right? So this is up up up. All right, so what is this up? So this is actually your backend, and this is your database, and this is your front end. So all of these containers are up. Okay, so now what we'll do, we'll go to 127 admin. You can see it is working, right? So this is our local server, this is stopped, and this is our local front end, this is also stopped, and this is our docker, right? So it is running. Okay, so you refresh, and let's run the localhost 5173. We are getting the error here, fail to load products, please check your connection. That must, there must be little bit a path change here somewhere. Let's see what happened here. Go to inspect and console. Okay, so what's happening here? So our front end is trying to access this backend, so it is not resolving. Why this is not resolving is because this backend service name, so this is actually the service name, right? Which if you go here, you can see this is the service name backend. So we are using this one, right? So this will only work inside the Docker, not on the browser. So I'll have to say 127.0.0.1, save it, and whenever you make any changes to your Docker, what you have to do, you have to run docker compose down. Okay, so let's stop the server using Control C. I'll say docker compose down, and everything is removed now. So I'll again say docker compose up -- build. Okay, so now let's refresh this. Okay, so there's no products, of course, because this is the new database, right? If you want to create the super user inside the Docker container, what you have to do, docker compose exec backend is our service name, then you run this python manage.py run server. Okay, so you can try this. It should be running, and I'll just cd backend drf. Okay, you have to write like this backend docker. Oh, I'm sorry, I don't have to go inside this backend drf. Okay, I can just come back. Okay, no need to go inside. And here, when this docker composes here, docker compose exec backend python manage.py manage.py. Create super user. Okay, I'm getting this warning. Don't worry, this is not anything serious. So what this means is actually in your env there is a dollar symbol somewhere here, so that's why it is showing like that. But if you don't want to receive this kind of warning, you can just wrap it inside this colon, double quotation, then it will work. So anyway, I'll go ahead and create this super user. I'll see developer.ratan@gmail.com, Django admin. I'll put the password. Okay, so now I don't have to run anything. The Docker is already running my Django, right? So I'll just go here, login, and you can see. So we were able to Dockerize our local Django app in our computer. Okay, next step is to send this project to Linode server. Okay, it should work the same way it is working right now. All right, now that our application is Dockerized, the next thing that we want to do is to deploy this application on the cloud server. Okay, or we can call it production server. Okay, so as a production server, I'm using Linode. So to create the Linode account, you simply click on this create a Linode account link, or you can just open it in a new tab. So this is the Linode interface. All right, so Linode is a cloud hosting provider that offers virtual private servers, or you call it VPS. Now Linode is actually a part of Akamai Cloud, so it's popular among the developers and startups, for being simple and developer friendly. And I like this Linode server a lot because it's cost effective and it's fast, and it's easy also. Okay, so I've been using Linode server for more than 2-3 years now. And the best thing about Linode is they will give you $100 credit, which will expire in 60 days. You can just try Linode for 60 days, and 60 days plus 100 days. Okay, so whichever reaches first, then you'll have to start your billing. And of course, I think they will also ask you to connect your credit card or debit card, but they will not charge you. All right, so for that, what you have to do, you have to just click on this. This is a referral link. When you click on this Linode account and create the create the account, you will get the $100 free credit, okay, which will expire in 60 days. All right, and the first thing that we want to do is to sign up. Okay, so I already have this Linode account, so that's why I'm going to log in. So what I'll do is I'll actually follow the steps written in the readme.md. So here in the GitHub. All right, so this is actually your Linode interface. Okay, so these are some of my existing projects. Anyway, next what we want to do is to is to create the Linode server. Okay, just click on this Linode, create button, select this Linode, okay, high performance SSD Linux servers. Okay, so here you have to select the region. Okay, so I live in India, and Mumbai is nearby to my location, so that's why I'm going to select this Mumbai region. Okay, so if you're living in other countries, and you can simply go through all of these regions they are providing, then you can simply select it. Okay, and then choose an OS. So for your VPS, you have to select the operating system. So always go with the LTS distribution. Okay, so LTS means long time support. So currently the at the time of recording this video, Ubuntu 24.04 is LTS right now. I'm selecting this. Okay, in your case, if it is a 26 or 28, you can just select it. Okay, just use the latest one. And there are a lot of Linode plans. Okay, you can select dedicated CPUs if you're working on big projects, but this is actually the tutorial, right? So that's why I am using this shared CPU. Okay, in the shared CPU there is there's one the first plan is called Nanode 1 GB. So this is $5 a month. Okay, $5 plus tax. Okay, so this Nanode 1 GB is enough if your website is having like 50 concurrent users and all, 50 to 100 I guess. But if you are expecting more traffic for in your website, I think you should try Linode 4 GB, 8 GB, or if you're working on corporate applications, you can go with this dedicated CPU also. Okay, so I'm using this Nanode 1 GB right now. Okay, so Linode label, I will say click mart auto deploy. Okay, something like this. All right, so this is your Linode server label, and you don't have to select any tags. Here you may have to set your password. Okay, so this will be your root password for your Linux server. Okay, so I'm going to set some strong password. Okay, so make sure this is strong. All right, so set this root password, and one more thing that you want to do is to add an SSH key. Okay, so this is very important because we are going to make the auto deploy feature. Like we are going to write some automation script later, in the later part of this video. So that's why it's better if you create an SSH right now. So what I'll do is I'll just click on this add an SSH key. So what this will ask is the SSH public key. So what is this SSH public key? You have to create this SSH public key in your local computer. Okay, so I'm using Mac, and even if you're using Windows, the process is same. Okay, so what I'll do, you come back to this this page, this readme page. Okay, and here you can see on your local machine what you have to do. You have to just run this. If there is no folder called .ssh in your system, it will just give you the error. Then you'll have to run this. Okay, so just I'm going to open one terminal. Okay, so if you are using Windows, I would suggest you to open the Windows PowerShell, because I tried with the command prompt, it was not working. Okay, so try with PowerShell. Okay, so I'll say ls tilde /.ssh. so this exists in my system. Okay, if in your system .ssh does not exist, it is going to give you the error. Okay, so the error means it will just tell you that this folder does not exist. Okay, .ssh. All right, so Now the next command that you need to run is this one. Okay, just copy this and go to your terminal and paste it. Okay, ssh keygen, and just name this clickmart linode or something. Okay, it's up to you. Just write your own project name. All right, so now it is generating the public and private key, private key pair. Enter file in which to save the key. Okay, so what I'll do is, by default it will be like this. It will be id underscore ed 25519, but this file already exists in my system, so that's why I am going to just copy this and paste this path, but I will remove this and I'm going to say Linode clickmart. Okay, Linode clickmart. So you can just say anything, you can just name it anything. Okay, so hit enter and it will ask for the passphrase. You don't have to write anything, so just keep it empty and again hit enter. Okay, no need to enter anything. All right, so this has now generated the pair of public key and private key. So the public key is kind of a lock. Okay, so imagine this, a public key is kind of a lock and this private key is kind of a key. Okay, if you have a lock, you have to open that lock with your private key, with your key. Understanding, right? So that's why you have two things right now. So what you will do, cd dot ssh. Okay, so here inside this dot ssh, you can just see this one. So this linode underscore clickmart dot pub, this is your public key. Dot pub is your public key, you can show it to anyone. But this one, you see, linode clickmart with no extension is your private key. This is your lock and this is your key. You can give your lock to anyone, but you cannot give your key to anyone. Understanding, right? So that's the difference between public key and private key. Now what I'm going to do, I'm going to set the lock in my Linode server. Okay, and when I want to unlock it, I need this private key. Okay, so this Linode is now asking for the public key. Essentially it is asking for the lock, right? So what I'll do, I'll just say cat linode linode underscore clickmart dot pub. Okay, I can just show it to you. Okay, so this is the public key. Just copy this as it is from here to here. Just copy and put it here. Okay, and you can just name it as clickmart linode ssh key. Okay, something like this, new. Okay, because I have some more ssh keys. So once you do this, just select this add key. So what is done now, you have selected a lock to this Linode server. Okay, the next step is to select this ssh key. Okay, here you can see this is your newly created ssh key, and the remaining thing you have already selected, and just scroll down, and then no need to do anything, firewall and all, I'll just tell you that later. If you are working on serious application, just for $2 you can just select this backups. Okay, but if you're learning, no need to do this. Okay, click on this create Linode. Okay, so it will actually take like 1 minute to to get the server ready. So let's wait for that. Okay, now our Linode server is running. Okay, so just imagine this server as an empty box. There is nothing inside this server. All right, so this is just an empty computer or empty server. All right, so in the list also you'll see this. So I think this is the one I just created, right? Yeah. Okay, so what is the next step now? So all these things we have done, and Now you see, we have done this, right? We have used cat and added it to the Linode UI. This part is done. Now SSH into Linode. Now in the terminal, we want to just log into the Linode server, that same empty server, right? So let's go to the terminal. Maybe here, the way we log into the terminal is like this. Open your Linode, and you see this SSH access, right? So SSH space root at the rate, this is your IP address. Just copy this IP address and just go to your terminal and just paste it. This will not ask you for the password, but that password you have set, right? So there is a chance it will ask password, somewhere or someday when you're working inside the server. But so I would highly recommend you to save that password somewhere safely. Okay, and this will not ask you for the password because you have already added your SSH, I mean SSH key, right? So the lock is already there in the Linode server, and since you're logging in from your own computer, it already has the key, right? So that's why it won't ask for the password. Okay, so now it's asking me, this key is not known for any anyway. So are you sure you want to continue? So here you have to just write yes, and you can see it did not ask you for the password. Okay, root password. Okay, root password will be needed later. Anyway, so now you are inside the what do you call, the Linode server. I'll just make it bigger, so let me clear it. So you have to see like this, root at the rate localhost. This means you are inside the server. Okay, and what's the next step? So passwordless logging in is done, and we have to first update the server because this is just a new newly created server, right? So this thing has to be updated. Apt update and apt upgrade -y. So imagine that we are actually inside the Linode server. Okay, so just don't forget that. So this is the terminal we are using. You see this SSH. Okay, so ZSH, which you are seeing in the Mac, is the local server. Okay, so if it asks you for this option, simply select this second option, keep the local version currently installed, and say yeah, okay. Okay, perfect. So the server has been updated. You can just clear it out. And what is the next step? So since this is the empty server, we need some softwares installed in this server, right? So it's kind of a new laptop. Okay, so what happens when you bring your, when you buy the new laptop, you have to install all these softwares, right? So in our case, for our deployment, we need a Docker, we need a Docker Compose, and we also need a Git. Okay, so that's why we'll install the Docker. The way we install the Docker is by just using this command. Copy this and go to your Linode server and make sure this is not disconnected. It has to be root at the rate localhost. Paste it, and it will just install the Docker in your system. Okay, so to verify if the Docker is installed or not, you can simply write docker ---- version. All right, so the Docker is installed, and you can just say docker ---- version, and it will just show you the Docker version. Okay, and next thing is to install the Docker Compose, right? So I'll just install this using this apt install Docker Compose plugin, and Docker Compose is also installed. Okay, so if you just want to see the version, Docker compose version. Okay, so it will show you the Docker compose version. And next we want the git. Okay, so I'll just say apt install git, and then you can just run this git hyphen version. It will just show you the git version installed. Perfect. Now what happened? Now your docker compose and git installed successfully in your server. Okay, the next thing is to clone your project. Okay, so clone your project in inside your server. Okay, so we typically keep the project source code inside the opt folder. Okay, in the Ubuntu servers. I'll actually show you. Let me open my repo. So this is my repo. So currently the source code is here in the GitHub, right? We want to set up this source code inside the Linode server. Okay, so what we will do, we will actually follow these steps. Okay, so I will just show you how to do that. So first of all, if you look at this ls, right, there is nothing, but if you just say cd space /, you'll go to the root directory. Now if you say ls, you will see opt folder, right? Just go to this opt directory, and you see there is a container, containered. Don't worry about this, this is related to Docker, but we are going to create one more folder here, right? So mkdir clickmart. So this is your project folder. Just hit enter. So now if you say ls, you will see this clickmart folder. Inside the clickmart folder, we will have to clone our project. Okay, we'll have to clone our project. So to clone the project, what we will do, git clone the repo. You can simply copy this. Okay, or else you can just copy this one also. Okay, both are same. So git clone and paste your GitHub repo URL and put dot. Okay, let's hit enter. All right, now if you say ls, you will see backend DRF, frontend, and a README. So all the source code has been pulled to inside the Linode. Okay, so what is next? Repo is now cloned inside the perfect. Now update the frontend environment variable. Okay, so in your local computer, so what you have to do, you have to just update your Vite server URL. Okay, and then you have to push the code to the main branch. All right, so why this is important is because this Vite server base URL is actually connected to your backend, right? So your backend is going to be your IP address. Where is your IP address? This IP address. Okay, 172, this one. All right, and then we will push this code to the main branch again. Okay, so it's like a local computer to GitHub to Linode. Okay, local computer to GitHub to Linode. So three things are happening here. Okay, so currently we will do everything manually. After that, when we push from local, it will automatically go to the Linode server through the GitHub. Okay, so first let's let's update this one, because in order for us to test our application on the production server, all these environment variables are very important. Okay, so we also have to create this .env docker and all, because these are the files that contains the secret information, right? So first let's go to docker compose.yml. Okay, so now that we have just cloned our repo from the GitHub, the source code is here inside the Linode, but it is not at all working. Okay, we have to make it work but it needs some secret information, right? So let's go to this docker compose.yml. Okay, so we are inside the local server. So here you see this wheat server base URL, right? So we'll just set it like this. So instead of this, what we'll do, remove this Linode IP, just put this IP. Okay, copy that IP and put it here, save it. What is next? We'll have to push the change, to the GitHub. Then from the Linode, we'll pull it. Okay. Okay, so we have just changed this one. And then let's go back here. Okay, in here, git status, if you see git status. Okay, so it will not work like that. It is not detecting. That's because in my git ignore, I have just added it to git ignore, so that's why it will not work. So what I'll do is I will just remove this thing like docker file okay, so I cannot just remove these two things, .env docker and .env production, but remaining things I will remove it. Okay, I'll just remove. Just see the git status now. Git status, and you can see I can now push this docker compose to my now GitHub repo. So what I'll do, I'll just say git add git commit -m environment variable added git push origin main. Okay, so what this will do, this will actually send your existing code from the local server to GitHub. Okay, so this is my repo, and if I refresh it, okay, am I doing it correct? Okay, so let me check if I've got this. Okay, Docker file has come. Docker compose is not here. I don't know. All right. Okay, so why Docker compose is not reaching to here? Get. Okay, so it is correct. So looks like it is not tracked because I'm inside the backend DRF directory. So that's why maybe I'll just come out of this and just say its status. Okay, so I think this is the reason. I'll just add it, git add dot git commit -a, -m. Maybe you can just write any commit message, tracked docker compose. Okay, git push origin. Okay, so the mistake I did is I was just running the git commands inside this backend DRF, but I should run the commands from the root directory. Okay, so now if I go back and see, it should be there. Okay, docker compose is here. Okay, so the new changes is also here. Okay, so what is next? Okay, so just let's so this is done, this is done, this one is done, this one is done. And next, create environment file inside the Linode. Okay, so to run our we have the source code inside the Linode server, but to run the source code we need this two things. Okay, .env .production .env docker. So this will actually create the database in the in the Docker, and this will connect to that database. Okay, so we will just go inside the server. So here is my server. Okay, so just make sure you are inside this you're logged in. All right, so let's go inside this backend DRF. So here I need to create the file nano.env.production. Okay, .env.production. So what to put here? So just go to this and go to env.production, and let's copy this. Okay, let's copy this and put it. Okay, so you can just name it like this, live TV. This is the name of your database, and you can just say strong password at 2025. So this is just your password. You are setting the password for the for creating the PostgreSQL database and the user. All right, so let's say x y, enter. All right, so .env production is done, and next nano.env.docker. Okay, so using this one we will connect to that database. All right, so what to write here? Just go to, where is it, env docker, and let's okay, just don't put this. Okay, use app password and all. Just let's remove this, because that will then be considered as password, so your email will not be sent. Okay, let's just copy all, save it, and just paste it here. Okay, and this is my strong password at 2025. Okay, it should be same. Okay, the database name should also be same, like it should be like this. Click mart and deploy live db, and user db user will be Postgres. Password is this one, and db db host is nothing but the db service, which is in the docker compose.yml, and this db port. Okay, make sure the password is correct. Let's say x y, enter. Let's quickly, yes, correct. All right, so what is next now? Add requirement. Okay, so this is done. Okay, this is done. Now open the firewall ports on Linode. So what is this? See, if you don't open the ports in your Linode server, your app will not be accessible, because your Django app will be running on the backend, on the 8000 port, and your front end will be running on the 5173 port, right? So we just want to test it before we close, before we use the custom domain and all stuff, right? So let's first go step by step and make sure if our website run with the 8000 port and 5173 port, just like how it did in our local server, right? And then once it starts working, then we will just close this 8000 and 5173 port and just make it work using 80 port, right? So 80 is actually the HTTP default HTTP port. Okay, so how to do this? So to open the port 8022 and 5173, what we have to do, go to this Linode, and you see this networking, right? In your you have to first open your Linode server, and then go to this networking and firewalls. So here, this is one firewall that I have. I will not touch this, but this, you see this one, create firewall, and here you can just name it as ClickMart live firewall. Okay, so default inbound policy will be drop. Default outbound policy, outbound policy is accept, and then select the Linode. Linode means your server title, server label. So my server label is this one, ClickMart auto deploy. Okay, select this, and then no need to do anything with the node balancers. Create firewall. All right, so once this firewall is created, select this, and here you have to add the inbound rule. Okay, so this, in here what you do, you actually close or open the ports. Okay, so here in the preset we have SSH. Okay, SSH means automatically 22, and then you have to select the port, protocol as TCP, and then just in the sources just use all IPv4 and all IPv6, action accept, and add rule. Okay, one port is added now, and another port, let's another port is our Django backend 8000, right? So in the preset there is no 8000, so just don't select anything from the preset. In the label, what you do, just say backend. Okay, backend. So in the protocol, select TCP, and the port will be, you see, port you can select, but 8000 is not listed here, so that's why use this custom. When you add custom, you see this one, custom port range, right? Simply write 8000. Okay, and the sources will be all IPv4, all IPv6, action accept, and add rule. So the backend 8000 is open now, which means we can just run our backend server, or backend Django server on our Linode server. Okay, so that's what it means. So this is for testing. After testing, we will remove it later. Okay, so because of course we don't want to go like ratan.com colon 8000, right? No, so it should be working with the 80 port, which is just ratan.com or just clickmart.com, right? So it's like that, but we will just try with the port, and then we will just remove it and use the only 80 port. So now add an inbound rule again. So this is for the front end. In the preset there is nothing. Label will be front end, no need to write any description. Protocol will be TCP, and this port will be custom, and the front end port is what, 5173. 5173, right? The sources will be all IPv4, all IPv6, except add rule. Okay, so three things are, all the threes rules are added, and just come back, and this is done. And now we will build and run the Docker container. Okay, we'll build and run the Docker container. Let's go to our server, and let's say, where is it? Okay, so it will actually you have to relog in. You have to relog in because SSH, we have just added the firewall, so that's why it is, you see this broken pipe. You can simply just run it. Sometimes it takes time, but don't worry, it will log in. Anyway, I'll just stop it. Just run again. It could be because we have just added this. Okay, I forgot to just save this. What I'll do, I'll just add it again. SSH TCP 22 add rule, and backend TCP custom 8000. Okay, so just add rule. Sorry, front end TCP accept and add rule. Okay, so this will be 5173 add rule, and you have to just make sure that you click on this save changes. Okay, all right, now it should work. Yeah, you can see it is logged in again. Okay, so what is next? All right, we have to just run this docker compose up build. Okay, docker compose up build -d, and make sure all the environment variables are right. Okay, so just run it. Okay, it's not running. Why is because if I just say, okay, I'm sorry, I should go to cd opt, cd click mart, and still it will not work because we have just removed this docker compose from the git ignore, right? So that is still inside the github only. We want to just pull it here. So let's try to do it. Yeah, you'll see this one, right? So what we'll do, I'll just say git -a. Oh, I'm sorry. ls -a. Okay, so this is where my git is initialized. I will just say git pull. Okay, so when I said git pull, now if I check, you can see docker compose.yml is now came, right? Now I will just run this docker compose up -build -d. So it will now build your docker container. Let's wait for this to process. Okay, perfect. So you can say docker compose ps. You'll see all of them are up. Okay, so what is up now? Backend is up, front end is up, and the database is up. All right, so let's see what is next. Okay, so now we can test it in the browser. 8000 is open right now, right? So where is our IP address now? Let's go to the Linode. This is the one. I'll copy this IP and just paste it and go to 8000. Okay, so it's asking me to add this IP address to allowed host. Of course, you know this, right? So why it is showing like this is because our Django application is not allowing this IP address to load the project. Yeah, which is good. And what about this one? 5173. Let's try 5173. Just paste it. Paste this IP address 5173. Okay. So since our backend is not running, so that's why it is giving you this, giving you this error. Okay. Once it is fixed, it will just load properly. Okay. But the thing is, our project is actually now running on the Linode server, right? Okay. So let's see what is next. Now we have to fix the Django allowed host, right? So we are getting the error. So what we'll do in the local settings.py, you see we don't write anything directly inside the Linode itself. Like if you want to make any code changes except the .env file, you write that inside the local project. Okay, for example, right now I want to change this allowed host in the server, right? So if I just go to this cd backend and then see nano click mat main settings.py, and I can just write it from here. Okay, I can just write add the allowed host from here directly inside the server, but no, we don't want to do that. Okay, so this is the bad practice. Okay, so we are following the industry standard deployment practices, so that's why let's not at all write anything directly except the env file. Okay, so env file should always be returned directly in the server. All right. Okay, so what we should do, local settings.py, let's add this one. Just copy and go to your settings.py. Okay, I'll just remove this and replace this. Okay, and OS should be imported, so just go up and import OS, save it. All right, and next you see since we now have the Linode IP address, what we will do is inside the course allowed origins, which is inside our settings.py, we'll add it here. Okay, otherwise again you will have to again Linode will give you error that your front end is not able to access the backend. Those kind of errors will show. So instead of wasting time, we'll just add it here. Okay, this one. So just okay, put it inside the quotation, and this should be your IP address. Okay, just copy this IP address and put, save it. And what is next? In the local .env.docker file, let's add this one. Okay, because you see we are we are taking the allowed host from the env file, so that's why we'll just do it in the local env.docker. Where is it? Yeah, let's add it somewhere here. Yes. Okay, save it. So this is our local, and you see another step is in linode.env.docker. Okay, so we have to put this also. Okay, put this also, copy, and you know what, we have to change it, right? We have to change this IP address. Let's take this IP address and put it. The same line will go inside the Linode also. Okay, so it should go to, let's say, nano.env.docker. Okay, it should go here. Allowed host 127. This IP address. Just save it. Okay, so that thing is done. So what will happen now when we push the settings to our Linode, it will automatically fetch the allowed host from the linode.env docker. Okay, this is done. Now in the docker compose.yml, I think we have already done this, right? Okay, we have already done this, the same thing. All right, so I've just written it twice. Anyway, this is already done. Okay, if you want to see it in the docker compose, you can see. Okay, so now we'll add we'll just push it to GitHub. So in here, so just make sure you're out of this backend DRF and front end, otherwise some of the code will not go there. Git add dot and git commit allowed host and environments added. and then git push origin main. Okay, git push origin main, and then this will actually push the changes to GitHub. Let's okay, so all the changes are done. If you want to see that, you can see settings is changed just now, right? You see a lot host. All right. Okay. Next, now whenever we push the code to the GitHub, we want our Linode server to automatically update, right? So that's our goal. That is what we call the automated deployment, right? But right now, what is happening? We are pushing the code from local to the GitHub, right? Then what we are doing, we are actually going to Linode server and we are pulling the code using git pull, and then we use Docker Compose up to rebuild the image, right? So that's what we are doing it manually, but we want to automate it. But you know what? But we just want to properly see if everything works fine or not. So that's why I have written. Let's first manually pull the code from GitHub to Linode, okay, and then rebuild the containers. If everything is fine, then we will make the CI/CD pipeline. Okay, so there is this rule also. The rule before automation is never automate something that you haven't done manually. Okay, so never automate something you haven't done manually. So that's why before I automate anything, I just want to clearly show you how to do it manually, right? So if you don't know how to do it manually, you cannot just automate it, right? So that's why what we have done right now, we have just pushed our code to the GitHub. Okay, the next thing is the code is here inside the GitHub now. Okay, inside the GitHub, it is there. And next, what we want to do, we will just pull the code from the GitHub in the server. Okay, because we want the code here, right? So let's come back. So here, okay, so let's be inside this clickmart directory. Okay, so let's say git pull. So this will actually bring the new updated changes. Okay, so settings.py is changed. All right. All right. Next, what to do? So with this change, we will just say rebuild the container -v. See, I'll tell you one more thing. Remember this, okay? Only use -v when you don't have anything in your database, because if you run -v, your data will be lost. It is going to delete the data folder of the Postgres database. Okay, so if there is anything in your database, what you do? You simply run docker compose down. Don't run -v. Right now I don't have anything in the database, right? So that's why I'm going to run -v also. Okay, so this will just down all the services or the containers, and then I'll just rebuild it. Okay, this looks like a little bit risky to me. So what I'll do, I'll just update this what do you call this readme.md. Okay, so by the time you see it, you will just see this one, docker compose down, not -v. So docker compose up, build d. Let's rebuild the container. Okay, now that it is done, let's try to run it. Refresh. Okay, so page not found, expected, because there is nothing inside this backend, right? So if you just go to admin and you see it's working right here, if you just run it and you see there is nothing, no products, because there is no data, right? You can just run this docker exec command. Where is it? You can just run docker compose execute backend python manage.py create super user to create the user and all. So now let's try to automate this process. Now see, the automation is like there are three things here. One, the moment we push the changes from local branch or the local project to the main branch of the Git, we will actually just send it to GitHub, and via GitHub we are going to send it to the Linode server. Okay, so in the Linode server we are going to use this git pull origin main. So this is what we did in did manually, right? And then we will just run docker compose up build hyphen build d. See what's happening here. First thing, to create the to set up the CI/CD pipeline, first thing, from the local server, whatever feature we make, whatever changes that we make, we have to first push to the we will push to the main branch of our repository. Okay, the moment we push to the main branch, this CI/CD will trigger. Okay, so what this will do, this will actually take the your GitHub will actually take your Linode host, Linode user, Linode SSH key from the Linode secret. Where is it? Here in the settings, you have to add your secret keys in here, secrets and variables for actions. From here, okay, from here, it will take the secret login credentials, and it will just log into your Linode server automatically, and then it will run these three commands. What this will do, it will first go inside this opt clickmart folder 1, and then it will just pull the new changes 2, and it will then run the docker compose up 3. Only these three things it is going to do, and your updates will be live automatically. Okay, so let's see this in action now. So first, let's create a new file, github workflows and automate.yml. Okay, so let's go to our directory, and just let me close all these tabs. All right, so here on your root directory, create a new folder, not a file, new folder, and just name it GitHub. Okay, name it GitHub, and then just create a new folder again inside this .github folder. Okay, right click and new folder again, and say workflow. Okay, just say workflows. Okay, workflows, and then create the new file inside this workflows directory and name it automate.yml. Okay, automate.yml. We are going to write the script here. So this part is done, and let's copy this code and go here and put it inside here. So what's happening? So this is actually the name of the automation, auto deploy to Linode. You can just write anything. So on push to the branch main, we will run the job, this one. Okay, deploy on Ubuntu latest. So this will be the steps, deploy via SSH. So it needs the, so GitHub will, this automation script will actually try to log into your Linode. Okay, understand this. It will automatically log into your Linode, and it will then go to clickmart directory, and then it will pull the new changes, and then it will just run docker compose up. Okay, so to log into the Linode system or Linode server, we need to add the host, Linode host, and Linode user and Linode SSH key. Okay, so 3 things we have to add. Let's save this file, and let's try to add this one by one. So where to add the secrets.linode host? If you go to your repository, okay, this repository, go to your settings, and here on the left side, secrets and variables, right? So here in the actions, you should add the repository secrets. Click on this new repository secret. So what is the name? Okay, so you can just copy it from here. It is Linode host. Okay, just copy this Linode host. Both are same, right? I'll just refresh it. Okay, just say Linode host. So what is this Linode host? It is nothing but your Linode IP address. Just copy this and put it here, add secret. Okay, one is done. Now let's add another one. Okay, so for your automation script to log into your server, it needs everything. Okay, otherwise it will not be able to log in. Okay, it needs another thing is username, right? So let's just use this Linode user. Just put it here, and this is actually the root user. Add secret. Okay, and then Linode SSH key. Let's copy this. Just add and Linode SSH key. Now, what is this SSH key? So this is actually the private SSH key. Okay, private SSH key. Last time when we were logging in from here, right? So root at the rate IP address, right? So our system was not asking for the private SSH key, right? But this automation script is now trying to log in. It has to provide the private key. Otherwise, that lock that we put in the Linode server, that will not open, which means it will not give access to the script. Okay, so that's why we have to add the Linode SSH key, which is our private SSH key. So where is this? Where is it now? So here, if you go back to this .ssh folder, if you're inside the, if you're in the Windows OS, what you will do, go to C directory. I think in the C you will see this users folder. Inside the users folder, I think inside the users folder, your name will be there. Okay, your username will be there. Open that username folder, and then there you will see .ssh. Okay, so if it is not visible, then what you have to do in Windows, in the view option, you have to tick this option called view hidden files. Okay, because all these .ssh and whatever file name and folder name starts with the dot are the hidden files. Okay, so you have to just select the view option and click on the view hidden files. Okay, then you will see this. Open that folder and you will see the see this kind of thing, Linode clickmart. So just say cat Linode clickmart. Okay, when you open this, right, just copy this whole thing, whatever you see inside this Linode clickmart a private key, just copy it as it is and put it inside here. Okay, add secret. All right, so these three things are very important. We have done it. Okay, so what is the next step? Next step is to push this changes to our server. Okay, I mean the GitHub. Let's add git add dot. Okay, not from here. Git add dot git commit -m CI/CD setup git push origin main. Okay, the moment you run this git push origin main, now you go to this your GitHub repo and go to actions. So this is what GitHub actions. So this is automatically triggering, and this is doing a lot of thing now. You can click on it and click on this one, and you'll see what is happening. Everything is happening automatically. Okay, we got some error. Okay, no, okay, we did not get the error. It is successful. Okay, it is successful. I'm sorry. So all these things it has done. So all right, so these are the logs. All right, but if you look at this, you can see one task is completed, CI/CD setup. Okay, so this means our GitHub action, our automation script was successfully able to log into our Linode server and put our local code. Now we don't have to go inside the lives. I mean, we don't have to go inside the Linode server and run git pull or docker compose up. No, everything is already done. This automate.yml is already taking care of all those things. You can only just check it. What to check? Did we make any changes? No, it's just make sure it's running. But we did not make any changes, right? So what we'll do now, imagine this is your live server, and now instead of you want to change something in your live server, live website, right? So you simply, let's try to change this title. Okay, Vite plus React is there, right? So let's try to change this. Okay, so let's go to front end, and in here index.html, let's just remove this. Click mart e-commerce store. Okay, save it. Now we have done this inside the local project, right? Now what we want to do, we want to just push this local changes to the live server, right? So git add git commit -m, change the website title. Now git push origin main. Only thing that you need to do is run this git push origin main, and everything else will be taken care by your automation script, GitHub Actions. Okay, you can just come here and refresh in the GitHub Actions. You can see it is changed. You see this run, so it is automatically running. Okay, it's automatically running. So it will just log into your Linode server, it will pull the new changes, it will restart the container. Simple. Okay, once it is done, the complete job, it will show complete job. All right, so let's let's just refresh this page. Okay, just refresh this page, and you can see ClickMart e-commerce store, right? So we did not log into live server, we did not do anything, we just pushed our code to the main branch, and everything is properly coming to our live site. So this is what we call CI/CD pipeline. Okay, continuous integration and continuous deployment. You can anytime, if you want to do any changes in your local server, any feature, just test it in your local computer. Once it is ready, just push to your main branch. Okay, if it is not ready, you can just push to your dev branch or any other branch, but whenever it is ready, just switch to your main branch and just push git push origin main. Everything will happen automatically. So that's what we call CI/CD pipeline. Now if you look at this, this is actually going from 5173 port, and this is 8000 port, right? This kind of port is not good. Okay, this kind of port is not good. So our backend, even though our front end is React and backend is Django, we have to use only one domain, right? Not like not like this 8000 will run on run the backend, and the 5173 will run the front end. No, it should not be like that. We have to run the backend front end both on the same domain, right? So that's why we configure something called Nginx. So if we do that, we do not have to use the port. We simply just, if you just do it like this, it will run. Okay, currently it will not run because 80 port is not open. Okay, so let's see this. Auto deploy is successful. Now Nginx configuration will do only a few things that we need to take care, and then we are we are good to go. So Nginx configuration, just don't keep loading. All right, so Nginx configuration, what we want to do from the local project. See, whatever we do, okay, whatever, creating the file, creating any folder, or writing any code, right? Don't write directly inside the server. Always write inside the local and then push to your main branch, and it will automatically go to the backend. I mean the server. Okay, so for configuring this one, so let's just go with this, and I mean just create this nginx folder on the root directory. Okay, just here right click and just say new folder nginx. Okay, if you don't know what is nginx, you can just check the check the description. In the timeline, I'm planning to give you the nginx overview section. Okay, in this nginx, create a new file default.conf. Okay, this is a configuration file, new file, and default.conf. Okay, so once that is done, what you have to write. Okay, so I forgot to add the code here, so okay, I'll update this. Just get the so just copy the code and paste it here. Your nginx server will actually listen to 80 port, and it will work for React, and it will work for Django, and it will also serve the admin static and the admin pages and static pages, and also static files and media files. All right, just save it, and next Docker compose changes we have to make. In here, add nginx service. Okay, so what we have to do in here, you see docker compose.yml, right? So these are all the services inside this services block, right? We have db service, we have backend service, we have front-end service. Okay, so when we have three service, docker will create three containers. We also need one more container for running the nginx. Okay, nginx. So we have to create this nginx service, and then okay, so what to write inside the nginx service, I'll give you that in the readme only, don't worry. So this is the thing that you need to write inside the nginx. Okay, so image will be nginx alpine. So this is the pre-built image from the docker hub. Okay, and the port will be 80. This is the configuration inside the nginx, and it depends on front end and back end. Okay, so which means in order to run nginx, it needs front end and back end to be running. Okay, like that. Okay, save it and then see what is next. Okay, so this is done, and remove parts from backend, and not remove parts, it is remove ports. Okay, so I need to remove ports from backend. Okay, I have to just remove this, from this front end, just remove this. Why? Because nginx itself is going to serve your backend and front end. Okay, from the 80 port, no need of 8000 and 5173. In the from the backend service also, remove these two things, save it. Okay, and then update the front end API URL. So this one should be like this now. Okay, it should not be in here with server base URL, so it will be just API / v1, because we are essentially going to connect the domain. Okay, and we do not need any port number or IP address, so it will work like that. And then let's push it. Git add git commit -m nginx setup, git push origin, git push origin main. Yeah. Okay, so once this is done, all the changes will go here. You can always come back and refresh the actions, and you can see here nginx setup is going to the it's processing. Always you can cancel the workflow if needed. Okay, so this is done. And what next? We have to update the firewall. Let's keep a 22 for 22 should be open, because our automation script need 22 a port to, in order to log into your Linode server, right? And remaining things 8000 and 5173 that we configured earlier, firewalls. If you go to this firewalls and ClickMart Live firewall, let's keep this 22, but we don't need this backend front end, this one 805173, right? Let's delete, and this one also delete, save it. Right now we only have 22, but 80 port should be open, which is the default port number. If 80 port is not open, then you will not be able to access your website. Okay, so 80 is the default HTTP port number. Let's go to, let's add an inbound rule. Go to the preset, go to HTTP. Okay, for for HTTPS we need this one also. We'll see that later. Okay, so this is HTTP, and protocol will be TCP, and sources will be all IPv4, all IPv6 except, and add rule. Okay, so now make sure you click on this saves changes. All right, next, these two things are removed and 80 is added, 22 is there. Okay, now let's try to go to IP address without any port. Okay, you can see it's working without the port, right? So if you just go to admin, I mean this admin, okay, so what we have to do in the allowed host, right, inside the server, allowed host, where to add the allowed host? It is inside the, it is actually inside our where is it? .env.docker, right? Let me clear it. cd backend, okay, nano.env.docker. Okay, so here we have allowed host. So here what I'll do, I'll just say backend. Okay, so I'll just say backend. Okay, save it. And how this backend will work, because if you look at this one, where is it? Yeah, in the conf. So this backend will automatically resolve. Okay, so this backend will automatically resolve with the domain name or the IP address. Okay, so that backend should be there. And now Docker compose down. Okay, let's say Docker compose down. We're actually restarting the Docker Docker compose down, and Docker compose up --build -d. All right, so now if I refresh, okay, so now I'm able to I can just create the super user and all that you can do. Okay, so now it is running from the IP address. Okay, no port number, nothing. Okay, so this is front end and this back end. All right, front end and back end is having one entry point now. Okay, now the next thing is to add the domain name and the SSL. So before we connect the domain name and SSL to our application, I want to briefly talk about something called gunicorn. So right now our infrastructure is stable. Nginx is handling all the HTTP requests, and Django itself is handling the Python code execution using the built-in run server. This setup works perfectly fine, especially for learning or the demo applications or even small applications. Okay, however, when it comes to industry level applications, it's not recommended to rely only on Django's development server for executing the Python code. Okay, so that's where the GUnicorn comes in. So GUnicorn is a production grade WSGI server, and it is responsible for executing your Django application code. It manages worker processes, and it also handles the concurrency, and it takes care of running your business logic and backend code in a stable and scalable way. You know what, in production setup, the responsibility is clearly divided. Nginx will handle the HTTP request and reverse proxying. GUnicorn will handle the Python code execution, and Django focuses only on application logic. Okay, so this separation is what makes the system reliable and production ready, and it is recommended for small to large scale applications also. So it's like three things working together. First, Nginx will handle the HTTP request, and Django will define the application logic, and GUnicorn will execute that Django code. So with that said, before we connect the custom domain and the SSL certificate, we will deploy the GUnicorn for our application. Okay, so it's very simple, and you don't have to do much hard work here. So only simple steps you have to follow, and which is that are written inside this readme.md file. Okay, so everything is here, and you can just follow from this file. Okay, so let's just start with start from here. Okay, so GUnicorn setup. So it's actually a production grade WSGI server, and for the first thing that you need to do is to add the GUnicorn package inside the requirements.txt. So let's go here inside our backend directory and requirements.txt. Okay, so let's copy this, let's put it here, save the file. Okay, and then what should happen? See, when you push the code to the main branch, this code is going to get deployed, right? So the moment it is deployed, it is going to run the it is also going to run the command. You see this one, right? Let me just show you Docker file, right? So it's actually going to install this GUnicorn at this stage. Okay, so pip install requirements. Okay, so this GUnicorn is going to get installed inside the Docker of your production server. Okay, so we just have to make sure that GUnicorn is installed. Okay, so I will show you how to confirm that. Okay, we can just see it in the GitHub actions. That's where you can make sure that it is installed. All right, so next thing what you need to do, you have to update the docker compose.yml. So why? It's because if you look at this docker compose.yml, so far what is happening is, in the Docker inside the Docker, we are running running this command, python manage.py run server. So Django itself is running our application. Okay, but as I said, for the production grade applications or big applications, it's recommended to use GUnicorn instead of Django's inbuilt run server. Okay, this one we have to change. All right, so what to change here? So if you just see, you can see this one, right? So this command we have to just change. Okay, so I'll just copy this and I'll remove this one. Okay, I'll just remove this, only this one. Okay, only python manage.py run server 0.0.0.0:8000. Just remove it, and I'm sorry, well, do not remove this colon, double quotation. So let's quickly make this indentation, this spaces and all proper. Okay, it should be one command. Okay, it is one command. All right, so no need to write this command and all, so I will update it. Okay, so this is the command, and inside the server, this GUnicorn is going to run instead of the run server command. Just save this file and just go back. So once these changes are done, then what you have to do, just push it to the main branch. Let's go ahead and do it. So I'll say git add dot git commit -m. I'll just write this deploy gunicorn as a commit message, and then git push origin main. Okay, so my code is now pushed to GitHub, which means it is deployed to our server. Let's go to GitHub, and okay, here it is. Not this one, I guess. Okay, I'll just show you the. Okay, click mart auto deploy. Go to actions. In the action, you can see it is actually deploying. Let's open this, because you see I told you to verify whether gunicorn is installed or not, right? So how to verify that? You see, by the time it is here, it is already installing gunicorn. You can see collecting gunicorn, or you can simply search for gunicorn in this page, right? So it's actually installed. Okay, so deployment is successful. And then what to do? Okay, so and then what to do, we have to just verify if the site is working or not, right? So let's copy this IP address and put it here. So the application is actually working, and if you go to this admin panel and you see this is broken. Why this admin panel is broken? Because it was working before, right? So when Django was serving our website, this was working. This admin panel was properly working. So here, what is happening here is that Django was secretly helping us to run the static files, but we stopped Django to run the website. We asked gunicorn to run our website, but you know what? gunicorn is not capable of running the static files. Who should run the static files? Nginx, right? Even though we have the Nginx configuration file here, but still it is not configured to load the static files properly. Okay, so there is one there is one configuration missing, which is a server level configuration, but I will come to that part later. But the thing is, our website is actually loading from the gunicorn. Okay, if you still want to confirm, what you can do is you just you can just go to your server, and let's I'll just open my new terminal, and I'll just log in. Okay, so SSH root @ IP address, and now you are logged in, and I'll go to opt, I'll go to click mart. Okay, so here what I'm going to do, I'm going to run this command. Okay, docker compose logs backend. Okay, I just want to see the log of the backend container. Okay, backend docker container. So if it says that okay, so you see static files, admin static files are not found. You see, okay, it is unable to load. That's why it is giving the error. Okay, we'll fix that in a moment. But if you look at this, starting gunicorn 23.0.0, right? So this confirms that our application is loading from the gunicorn. Okay, so run server is not running our Django application anymore. Okay, all right. And what next? Of course, we want to fix it, right? We want to fix it, but there are some more Nginx configurations are there, so that's why I'll just show you this later. Now, next step, since this application is running and everything is good, so we want to now purchase the domain name and connect it to this website, to this IP address, right? So let's go ahead and purchase one domain. Okay, so if you already have domain, that's good, but if you don't have domain, you can just go to godaddy.com or somewhere. You can also use Namecheap. Okay, so see, it's up to you where you want to buy the domain. Okay, so I already have the GoDaddy account, so I'm going to choose Django Click Mart. Okay, let's see what kind of domains we will get. Okay, djangoclickmart.com is available, and which is 599 rupees. This is just a tutorial, right? I just don't want to spend money on that. So I can do with this. I can just go with this one. Okay, so I already added this domain to the cart. Django I'll just go with it. I think it's just 89 rupees. You see, if you are practicing, just use lowest price domain. Okay, and the extension doesn't matter to me, so that's why I just bought. I'm just buying this store, which is 89 rupees for first year. And if I allow it to renew, then it will charge me like 7,500. But somehow I'm going to cancel the renewal later. Okay, anyway, so Django Clickmart.store, and okay, there are some tags and all are there. So you can also buy free domains, but I don't know. Freenom was working before. There was one website, Freenom. It was working before, like since 1-2 years. It's not working. I think they are not providing the new domains for free. The website is there, but it won't allow you to register for free domain. Anyway, I'll close it, and I'll this small amount I can pay it. Okay, I'll complete the process. Okay, so it's done, I guess. Okay, I'll go to my account. All right, I got the domain. So what is the next step? Okay, it's asking me to log in. All right, so Django Clickmart.store is my domain now. So I want to connect that domain, right? So after purchasing, we want to connect domain to Linode. Okay, so we have to add the DNS, which is the A record we have to put. Okay, let's add it. Okay, let's how to add this one, right? So you go to your domain section. Okay, and here you see this DNS, right? In this DNS, what you have to do, you can see this a@parked is there, right? We want to remove this. Okay, or we can just edit it. Here, instead of parked, we have to put this IP address. Okay, put this IP address, and just say 1 hour enough. Save, and let's add another a record. Add new record. Select A, and this will be www, because we also want www to be working, and we'll put the IP address, and let's set save. Okay, record name www, conflicts with another record. Where is another record? Okay, so here it is. All right, so CNAME is added, so I think we don't need to add this one. Let's delete it. So we have a record with this IP address, and we also have the CNAME, which is alias, with this www. So both will work. Okay, so this need not to be a record. This can be CNAME. All right. Okay, so we have to actually wait for some minutes. Okay, so minutes or hours. It's a propagation time, but it doesn't take that much long. It should work in few minutes. Okay, but meanwhile, what we'll do is we will add our domain to the Nginx. Okay, So first thing, if you look at our default.conf file, so what's happening here, it is listening to 80 port. So this this default.conf file should be modified in a way to serve the domain name. Okay, so what we want to do, this default.conf is a nginx file. We do not want to modify this at this stage. Okay, so because in the future we are going to use the cert bot for our for issuing the SSL certificate. That cert bot is actually going to automatically inject some code into this default.conf. Okay, so if this is here inside in the local server, it will be problem for us, because every time we push the code and this code will go to the server, and then that certbot's injected code will get deleted, right? That should not happen. So that's why this nginx file should be managed by the server only. Okay, so meaning we just don't want to send this default.conf file to the server when we push to main. Okay, so that's why what we can do is, so here we will just add this nginx to the git ignore, so that when we push the code to the main branch, this will not go to the server. Okay, so let's first let's just remove this from the git. Just run this command. Okay, just run this command, and which means this file is file still exists in your local, but it is just removed from the git. Okay, and then we will add this one. Okay, this nginx / default.conf to git ignore. Okay, this git ignore. All right. Okay, so you save it, and you can see it just became a red, which means it will not be tracked anymore. All right, so once it is done, let's just say git add dot, then we'll run git commit. Commit message will be make nginx config server managed. Okay, so from the server only we will manage this configuration file. Why? The reason is we just don't want to push this from the local server to production server. Why? In the production server we are using SSL certificate. That SSL certificate issuer, who is our certbot tool, is going to inject some code into this default.configuration file. Okay, that's why if we keep pushing this one, this local setting or local configuration file to the live server, what is going to happen? That injected file will get deleted. Okay, if that is that gets deleted, SSL will not work. Okay, so that reason, for that reason we are we are just ignoring this default.configuration from the local server, and we will manage this configuration file in the server only. All right, so I hope it is cleared. Let's commit this. Let's say git push origin main. Okay, so now if you just go here, okay, so the code, I mean, just you can't just go to the server immediately, so just make sure this GitHub action is done. Okay, because it's still working. Okay, still loading. So once this workflow is finished, we can just go to the server and verify. Looks like it is done, and let's go to the server and let's say ls. You can see nginx folder is not there inside the server now. So what we will do, we will actually create the nginx folder again. Okay, so see, in the root directory we'll create the nginx folder and then default.conf. Let's quickly do that. mkdir, you should be in the root folder. Okay, nginx. Okay, mkdir nginx. Okay, so nginx folder is created. I'll just go inside nginx let's say nano default.conf. Okay, so nano default.conf. So what should go inside this file? Same thing, whatever you have here, right? Copy all of these, the default configuration file, just paste it here. Okay, just paste it here. Same thing as it is. One thing you have to change here. Okay, one thing. What is that? Here you have to say server underscore name. Okay, you can copy it from here also. Okay, server name, your domain name, and www dot domain name, and then colon. Okay, so what is my domain name? My domain name is Django clickmart dot store. I'll go here. Okay, and then www dot, again domain name dot domain name and colon. Okay, just save it. Okay, so you can just verify if it is saved. Yeah, you can see it's working. Okay, done. Now let's just clear it off and see what is the next step. Okay, so this is done, and we have to restart Nginx. Docker compose restart. Nginx is actually the Docker container, right? So we will restart it. All right, so Docker, Nginx has been restarted, and now that we have added the domain, we have to put it inside the allowed host, right? So where is our allowed host? Oh, let's just come back and cd backend. So here we have the .env.docker, right? Oh, sorry, I did a mistake. It should be docker.env.docker. Okay, so in the allowed host I will add this. Okay, not this. Let me copy that again. So this is my domain, and I'll just put it. Okay, so now I'll just say, save it, right? So what is next? Once you did this, then you restart the backend. Okay, just say docker compose restart backend. Okay, so backend is also restarted. Let me quickly check if all our four containers are running. Which four containers? Backend, frontend, database, and Nginx, right? Docker compose ps. All right, so all of them are up. Okay, all the four containers are up. Now can we check? Yes, let's try to check. So by this time I think it must be propagated. Let's say okay, all right. So always don't check with the https, just check with the http. Looks like it is not yet propagated. All right, after a few minutes of waiting, my DNS got propagated, and now my site is loading from this http Django clickmart.store. Okay, don't try with the https, because we have still not configured SSL, right? So it should work from Django, from your domain with http. Okay, but I'm getting this error, one thing. And if your website is not working, what you can do is, it could be because of DNS propagation, because sometimes it takes a few minutes to few hours to to get the DNS propagated. You see, this one is not working now. Okay, so why this is not working? Because it could be because of course policy, because we have not added that course policy, right? Other things looks fine. Okay, so we are getting some errors, but that's not a problem. When we add the domain name in the in this settings, here we just want to allow this origin domain name, then it will work. Okay. But anyway, this is now working with the HTTP. Let's just try to load it. Just add this domain name here. What is my domain name? Yeah, here it is. HTTP. Okay, HTTP, and then I think let's add HTTPS also. So I'll just come back, git add. Oh, I'm just inside this server, right? So I should go here from my local and say git add hyphen a, or just add dot git commit hyphen m domain name allowed in course git push origin main. Let's see now if it works. So these are all the one-time work. So once this is set up, then you don't have to worry about any deployments. Then you can simply concentrate on your features and coding, and then push to main branch, and it will just get pushed to the server. Okay. All right, so deployment is done. Let's try. Okay, something is happening. It's loading, but not sure. Okay, so I got this error again. "502" is the status code I'm getting. So this means our front end is unable to access the backend. Can we check if the backend is running? Docker compose ps. Backend is not running. Backend is not running. You can see DB is running, front end is running, Nginx is running, right? So backend is not running for some reason. Let's try. Let's check what is the problem. Let me run Docker compose logs backend. Okay, static things are creating some issues here. Course header origin this. All right, we missed this comma. We missed this comma, right? So that's the reason. Something bad happened, and our container just stopped, right? So that's why just you see, if you miss such silly things, your container can stop. Git add dot git commit hyphen m minor issue fixed git push origin main. Hopefully it should work now. You can always come here and see. I like to see this kind of things. Okay, done. Let's quickly check if go to the SSH. Okay, looks fine. If I run docker compose ps, okay, all of them are up, right? Yeah, let's go back, refresh, and perfect. Okay, don't worry, you will not get this error. Okay, so this was some code error, but in your code, that error I have already fixed. You'll not get it. All right, now you can just go ahead and create the super user and start creating the data. Okay, you know how to do that. There are steps. What is next? Shall we see if the admin panel is working? Of course, it's not working because we did not do anything. That will fix this issue. Okay, we want to just do it. So we will fix this now. All right. So to fix this, what we have to do? There is two small changes that we need to take care. One is from the local and another one is from the server itself. Why server itself is because Nginx is actually loading from the server, right? So let's go to this just a nano nginx default.conf. Look at this. We have front end, we have back end, and let's just scroll down. Don't go to delete anything. Okay, so if anything breaks, then your website will break. You see this, what's happening here? We are telling our website to serve the static files. Okay, so our website itself is not loading from Django. Our website is actually loading from GUnicorn, right? But GUnicorn cannot load static files, right? So Nginx will run the static files. So that's why instead of this one, right, what we have to do, we have to just remove this, and we will just say alias space static. So now this nginx will serve the static files from your static directory. All right, once this is done, you save it. Okay, control X, then Y, and enter. Done. All right, next what to do? We have to just take care of the volume in this docker compose.yml file. We have the nginx service, right? We have the nginx service. So here you can see there's this volume, right? What you have to do, you have to just say hyphen dot / backend hyphen drf / static. So what we are doing here, see inside this backend drf folder, we have something called a static directory, right? Static directory. So we are pointing to this colon / static. This is the way you serve the static files from the nginx. Okay, save this, and then what you have to do, we need to send it to the server, right? So just say git add dot git commit -m static files to be loaded from nginx, git push origin main. All right, next we have made some changes in here, right, in the nginx file, right? So for that we'll say docker compose down. Okay, docker compose down, and we will rebuild it. Perfect. Docker compose up --build -d. All right, so now everything is started. If you want to verify, docker compose ps, and all of them are up. Now if you just reload, it should work. Yes, perfect. So it's working, right? All right, so last thing is to add the SSL to our site. Okay, so everything else is done. So to install SSL, we'll have to follow some steps that are listed here. Okay, so I'll just we'll just follow along with this file and get the SSL installed on our domain. Okay, that too for free. So first thing, we have to actually create these folders. Okay, certbot www and certbot conf. Okay, so let's go to our server. Okay, make sure you are inside the server and just come back. Okay, on the root directory you have to create. Okay, you should be here inside the root directory. So I'll just run this one. Okay, I'll just run this one, make directory, and then I will also run this one. Okay, so two folders are created. You can just see using this one. Okay, so two folders means one parent folder certbot, and inside the certbot, I just go inside this, there are two folders here, right? So like that. Now in the local docker compose.yml, we have to add these two volumes. Let's copy this too and go to your local docker compose, and here in the Nginx service. Okay, just make sure you add it inside the Nginx service. You see this, right? So don't delete the existing ones, just add these two. Okay, just don't add volumes, it should be like this. Okay, so make sure the indentation is proper. All right, so now there are 4 volumes. Save it and then go back to, okay, so you have to now push it to the main branch so that this configuration will come to our, this configuration will come to our server, right? So I'll go to my local and git add dot git commit -m SSL installation started. Okay, git push origin main. All right, so let's see. Okay, so it's done, and let's see what is the next step. We have to update this nginx default.conf, right? So let's we have to edit this default configuration from the server. So let's go inside this SSH, which is our server. Let me clear it. So nano nginx /default .conf, and here you see. So here we want to add something. Okay, so this part, just copy this location and you have to add it inside here. Okay, I'll just show you where to add. You see this, right? You have to add it here. Okay, save it, Control X and Y, and then we'll just restart the container. Docker compose restart nginx, and if I just say docker compose ps, make sure all of them are running. Okay, all of them are up, and at this point your HTTP must be working. Okay, I mean your website with the HTTP must be working. If it is, if there is any problem, then your site will not work with the HTTP. Okay, we did not yet install the SSL. We did some, we made some arrangements, and then inside, this will actually install the certificate. I mean install the certbot, and then this command will install the SSL certificate. Okay, so make sure this after this step, make sure your website is still working. If anything goes wrong with this configuration, this will not work. Okay, it has to be working before you go forward. Okay, all right, so let's update the server first. We're inside the inside the server apt update. All right, and then apt install certbot -y. All right, so this is also installed. Okay, actually I had installed certbot before, so that's why it is showing like this. Certbot is already in the newest version, but in your case it will install the certbot for the first time. Okay, and next you have to run this command. Okay, and here what you see this should be clickmart, right? Why clickmart? You can see this one, this is the path. All right, and certbot folder you have created, www also created, right? Okay, www is also created, and you have to replace this domain with your domain, and this one also should be replaced. Okay, and just copy this and paste it here, run it. All right, successfully received the certificate, and certificate is actually saved inside this let's encrypt folder in our server. We don't have to just go and see there, but the point is certificate is installed. Okay, so the next step is to enable the HTTPS in the Nginx. So there are actually a lot of code. We have, I have just made 2 server blocks, but inside our, let me just see it, nano nginx default.conf. If you look at this, so we have a single server block, and inside here we have we are listening to 80 port, and server name is there. You see, this is kind of, this is for HTTP, and this is the certificate, I mean SSL specific configuration, which is listening to 443. So what I would do, instead of writing it manually in here, because it is command line, right? So I would just delete it or just copy and paste it. It's up to you. Okay, so if you just want to refer to this and write on your own, if you're working on any, your personal project or something, you can just copy, I mean just refer to this and make the server block here. But for this one I would just delete this file, because you see, we don't want all these things, and we need 2 server block. One for the 80 and another for 443, which is for SSL, though our 443 is not open. Okay, so 80 is open and 22 is open, right? So in the firewalls we have to open it. I will do that in the next step, but for this one what we'll do is we'll actually, instead of just removing this one by one, we can just I'll just go back and go inside nginx. So this default.conf is there, right? So I'll just do rm default.conf, so it will just get deleted. So now I'm going to create a new default.conf. Okay, inside this new default.conf I'm going to add this. Okay, so when you add this, make sure your domain name should be replaced. Okay, here as well as here. Okay, and all these things also, just make sure it is proper. Okay, just copy this inside some text file and then just replace all these things, and when it is ready, just copy all and put it here. Okay, Control X, Y, enter. All right, now it's done. And now I will just say docker. All right, so I'll just come back. Okay, docker compose restart nginx. Okay, 443 port number is blocked. We'll open it, but just to make sure, I'll just say docker compose ps. Okay, something is wrong here. Backend is there, database is there, nginx is down. Okay, so let's see, docker compose logs nginx. Something is wrong. Let me try to restart the docker compose down. Docker compose up hyphen build -d. Okay, so let's see. Docker compose ps. All right, still Nginx is down. Okay, only backend db and frontend is there. Let's go back to logs. You see the logs here. So what it is saying is configuration complete, ready to start up. Cannot load the certificate at this path. etc let's encrypt live. Okay, so it is saying this full chain dot pem is does not exist. Okay, no such file. Let's just clarify. I just say ls-l. What is this path? Just copy this path and just see what is inside here. Okay, so this is there. Okay, so this path is there. So inside this Django, if I go, okay, I'll just go inside here, cd hash. So etc is here, right? So cd etc ls. Oh, it's huge. Let's try to go inside this. Let's encrypt. Where is it? It should be somewhere here. Yeah, here you can see cd let's encrypt. Okay, live is there. Okay, I'm sorry, ls cd live, and this domain is there, cd django clickmart dot store ls. Okay, full chain dot pm exist here. Okay, it is saying cannot load certificate. Okay, so no such file, no problem. So it is there, actually it is there. So since it is there, the ssl is actually created. Maybe we have to rebuild, force recreate the container. Let's try that. I'll go to opt cd click mart. Okay, so when I'm here, I'm going to say docker compose up -d force recreate Nginx. Okay, so this could fix the issue because we have changed the volume, right? So I hope this should work. Let's see, because I see the ssl is actually there, private key, private key and everything is there, but let's try. Okay, now if I say docker compose ps, no, it's still not running. Docker compose nginx. Okay, logs nginx, still giving this error. Okay, so what I'll do is I think this is looking for this path instead of this certbot conf, right? So I will remove this. Okay, I'll just remove this and try with the etc let's encrypt. Okay, not full, colon /etc /let's encrypt. read only. RO means read only. This is the volume. This is where the SSL certificate is stored, and this is where it should look for the SSL certificate. Okay, so now it should work. Let's actually just go here, git status. Okay, so we have changed this. Git add, git commit -m SSL issue fixed. Okay, I cannot just say fixed because we are still trying. Let's see. Git push origin main. Okay, so now if I let me refresh. Okay, so the deployment is like that. We always get unexpected errors. Okay, it's not only for us, anybody, even 15 years experienced developer is also deploying, he will definitely face one or the other issues. Okay, so always whenever we get the issues or the errors, it's the good time to learn, right? If you don't get any errors, any issues, then it's most likely you did not understand the concept in depth. Okay, so you will follow some tutorial or something, then then you push, then you just deploy it. If you get the errors, you will start to think deeply, right? So that's what we need. So let's try. In here, let me clear it. Docker compose ps. Okay, perfect. So Nginx is now running. Let's go to firewall. Okay, here inside, just go to this one, click mart live, and only 22 and 80 is open. We have to open https 443, right? And this will be TCP, and accept and add rule, save changes. So let me try it from here. Curl iv. Let me try if it connects or not. Hey, what am I doing? I should not do this. I should actually try this. Okay, let's try to open this https. Okay, refuse to connect. Let's just try to connect it. Okay, 443 was resolved. Port from port failed, connection closing connection. All right. Okay, so let's it's time to do some troubleshooting. I'm sorry if I'm taking a lot of time to fix this, but things like this will happen. Let's do some troubleshooting. I have this command, so this will actually check if Nginx is listening to 443 or not. Okay, so which means if you did not get anything, if it is blank, which means Nginx is not listening to 443. Let's verify one more thing. Docker compose ps. So here what's happening, even though we have opened the 443 port, right, but Nginx is only listening to 80 port. You see this 80 port, right? So that's the problem. So Docker is not exposing 443. That's the reason Docker is not serving SSL. Okay, so to do this, one quick fix, not a quick fix, I think we should have done this earlier. In here You see, Nginx service only 8380 port is exposed, right? Why didn't we expose 443? Right? We should expose 443. Okay, so if this 443 is exposed from the Docker Compose, then only we'll be able to we'll be able to serve SSL. Oops, so much of pushes. We'll one last time we'll try to push git add git commit -m added 443 to Docker Compose, git push origin main. Perfect. All right, let's go back to here SSH, but before that we'll have to wait for this actions to be deployed. Okay, so it's done. Let's try again with the same command. Okay, so it is listening to 443, and let's say docker compose ps. Perfect. You can see now Nginx is listening to 80 as well as 443. Correct? Now let's try this before I just hit the browser. Perfect. So it's working. It should be working now. Let's try now. Refresh, and you can see HTTPS is working. Perfect. It took a lot of time to fix this issue, or figure out what was going wrong, but anyway, I too got to learn a lot of things with this one, with this particular HTTPS section. I hope you guys also got a lot of things to learn, and you see now everything is perfect. Right now you can just create the super user. How do you create the super user? You have to run it inside the inside the Docker, right? So go here in the root, while you are logged into the server. Let me just do this real quick. developer.ratan@gmail.com, Django admin. I'll put the password. All right, so let's try to go to admin and say developer.ratan@gmail.com. Okay, so login. Okay, we got some CSRF verification failed. So this is not something related to Docker or anything, Docker or Nginx or anything. So it's about one setting called a CSRF trusted origin. So what we have to do, we will go to this settings, and we have to add one setting here, CSRF underscore trusted underscore origins. Okay, trusted origins is equal to config of, just copy and paste this. Okay, so this one we have to set inside here. Env docker is equal to what we have to add here, this one. Let's just show you. Okay, this domain name you have to add. Okay, comma www Django, your domain. Okay, just save it, and this one you added here inside the local server, right? Okay, so we have to push this push this to the live and then we have to add add this one, the same code, to the live server env, I mean .env.docker, right? So let's quickly do that. So what I did here is that just added this and push to the main branch. Okay, just push to the main branch, and this is, this looks fine. All right, so it is successful, and the next step is to just go to the server, cd or nano backend drf dot env dot docker. Okay, so here just let's add this. Just copy and let's add this one, and control x, y, done. Okay, so let's one last time, let's say docker compose down, docker compose up, hyphen build hyphen d. All right, docker compose ps, just to verify all of them are okay. Nginx is there, Postgres is there, front end is there, but backend is down. Okay, docker compose logs, docker compose logs, backend, start with the, okay, so trusted origin setting must start with the scheme. Okay, something is wrong. Okay, so the problem is it is actually we are passing the comma separated values, right? So it is expecting list. Okay, just remove this and say os dot get env, os dot get env, and then you add this name, comma, and then add this empty string and comma split. Okay, not comma, it should be dot split by comma. So we are actually reading this comma separated values. Okay, save it and just say git status git add hyphen a git add dot git commit hyphen m fix the csrf trusted origins, git push origin main, okay, let's try this. All right, so just what I did is I just ran this docker compose ps, and you see everything is now running. Okay, so let's go back to the let's go back to our website, try to log in, developer.ratan@gmail.com, and I'll put my password. Perfect, right? So it's now properly working. HTTPS is done, domain name is done, and everything is done. Okay, so that's how you deploy the Django application on the virtual private server. Okay, so I'm sure many of you guys will face the issues. You see how I faced the issues, right? The same way it happens with everyone. And if you guys face any different kind of issues, right, you can ask me. Okay, so you can just create a question, or you can ask me. You can just send me the email to developer.ratan@gmail.com. Okay, so that's one thing. And you can also join my Discord server from here. Okay, so you could just go to techwithratan.com, and from here you can just join my Discord server. Okay, so that's the end of this big huge deployment section. This is not, as you know, this was not a simple deployment, right? So it used Docker, PostgreSQL, CI/CD for CI/CD pipeline using GitHub Actions, Linode, Nginx, Gunicorn, and custom domain and SSL. It's a complete package. Okay, I think following this videos, I think you can deploy any applications, any Django applications. Okay, so that's it. And thanks a lot for being with me this far, and I'll see you next.